It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 60. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, December 31st, 2023, the final day of the year, the final weekend of the year, and that is why today we are going to do the second annual Dep Lewis Show Awards. Going to be ranking all the best things, ranking the best games of the year, and telling you all the best things from 2023 that you need to know. So that's what we're here to do today in this very special episode of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 60. So welcome to the show, everyone. Glad to be here and glad to be back from the holiday break. We're going to talk about some of that kind of stuff in the first section, but let's get down to some business. I want to tell you some things to do to improve and help this show. Please follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend, email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. So basically anywhere podcasts are available. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. And then Patreon.com/DepLewisShow is the ultimate place to follow for a second weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. And I'll tell you more about this at the end of the show, as I always do. So for today, since today is the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2023, things are going to be a little bit different, but a little bit of the same. So let's talk about the show structure for today. So the first, we're going to have our three sections as we always do. So we're going to break it down into those three sections. But the first section today is just going to be general updates and plans for the show. So I'm going to tell you some things for next year and beyond. And that is really just the plan. We're going to catch up a little bit since I've been off for a few weeks and just get down to some of that business in the first section. And the second section is what you're here for. It's going to be the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2023. We're going to go through all the categories. There's 6 categories this year. We're going to go through all the rankings. I'm going to tell you all the best things, and then we're going to finish off with the best game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show Awards. This is the second time doing this. I'm very excited to tell you all the rankings for the year and give you a little insight into how the picks were made. And then the third section, this is new for the year. The third section of the show is going to be rankings from friends of the show. So we have some lists, all sorts of crazy categories. There's some video game categories in there as well, but there's a lot of other fun things. So we're going to get into those rankings, and I can talk trash or compliment them on the show as I go through them. So it's going to be really fun. You're going to hear a lot of great, different perspectives and, different things people enjoyed in the year besides myself. And that is going to be really fun in the third section of the show. And then we're going to also just end with my year-end thoughts on the worldwide world of sports. So get into all the official teams of the show and talk about those. So that is the plan for the show today. It's going to be a great one. So let's see here. No notes from last show. It's been a couple of weeks since I've had an episode. But I just want to say for this game, for this Dep Lewis Show Awards, to watch my ands and my ums and my mic noises, I need to do better. I need to slow down in general. It's probably good advice too. And then watch for the you-knows. When I'm on the freestyle show, I'm a lot of time doing a you know. So I got to stop that especially on this special Dep Lewis Show Awards episode 60 of the show, the final episode of the year. So just very excited. So let's get into it. So the first section of the show, we're just going to talk about some plans and updates for the Dep Lewis Show. The best podcast in the universe, once a week, every Sunday. And for 2024, since this will be my second, official full year, getting into 2024 will be the start of the second full year of the Dep Lewis Show. So I want to set some good parameters and expectations and all those kind of things so I can, hopefully achieve and fulfill all of those. So let's see here. What I want to say, Dep Lewis Show is once a week on Sunday. That's not going to be changing. May get some more Saturday episodes in 2024. That's just me trying to be proactive. So, you can expect a show on Saturday every once in a while. But the main thing I want to get into is, I've taken the last few weeks off, and I think I need to implement some breaks over the course of the year, some expected breaks, and then allow for some flexibility as well. But I want to bring a lot of great podcasts to you. So I think the plan is going to be, just so you know, the most loyal listeners in the world, the Dep Lewis Show listeners. So I think the weeks I'm going to take off over the course of the year, so you can always know this in the future, there's going to be no Dep Lewis shows these week unless I have some great change or I want to make like an addendum to these things, but I'm going to take off the week of Thanksgiving. So that'll be 1 week, and that's usually around my birthday as well. So sometimes those two things can coincide, and that could be pretty great. So I figured that'd be a good time to be off. And then so the week of Thanksgiving, and then the 2 weeks prior to the last weekend of the year. So that allows me some time for the Christmas holiday and all the holiday things, allows me to have some time off, allows me to play some games before the end of the year, and then be able to discuss and rank all the best things of the year on the Dep Lewis Show Awards. It's the final weekend of the year every year. So that is a new, definite thing here on the Dep Lewis Show. So if you want to look at the calendar, the final weekend of the year, there's going to be a Dep Lewis Show. It's going to be the Dep Lewis Show Awards. And the 2 weeks prior to that, the Dep Lewis Show is going to be off. So I'm going to be off for a holiday break. So there'll be no Dep Lewis Show on the main feed, and there'll be no Dep Lewis Freestyle Show during those weeks. So that is what I've come up with. And then let's see. I don't think I've decided for any other week. So I think those are the main ones. Let's see. Thanksgiving, holiday break. And then I think there's going to be a summer break as well. I don't know if I've listed that on here, but let me look. The show's going to be a little bit more on flying by the seat of my pants. Let's see here. Yeah, so we're going to do a summer break as well too. So that'll be, I don't know where I wrote these down, but that'll be July 7th and July 14th this year. There'll be no Dep Lewis Show. So those are going to be so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks that I'm planning to be off. And then I'm going to have 2 other flex weeks in there is the plan. So maybe I'll be sick one of those times, or maybe I'll have something coming up. So I'm planning on having 45 episodes of the Dep Lewis Show in 2024. So just to, be more concise, it's going to be, for 2024, there will be a summer break. So there'll be 2 weeks in July, the 7th and the 14th will be a no episode. And there will be no episode the week of Thanksgiving. And then there will be no episodes 2 weeks prior to the final weekend of the year. So that is the Dep Lewis Show schedule. Other than that, you'll be getting an episode every Sunday, the Dep Lewis Show, and then you'll be getting an episode on Patreon, which is a midweek episode, which is the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. And that's a show where I just hit record without a plan, and I just talk about whatever I want to. I possibly peruse the internet and just kind of practice my podcasting skills is the main plan for that show. So those are the updates on the schedule for the show. Let's see. I have some other general updates to talk about. I have some notes here, and I want to make sure I hit all these things. So I may get some more Saturdays episodes in, sure. So the week of Thanksgiving off, and 2 weeks prior to the last weekend of the year. So the Dep Lewis Show Awards will always be the last weekend of the year. And the 2 weeks before that allows me to prepare. And I found my other break. It's going to be a summer break. So there's going to be a summer break, a Thanksgiving break, and then a winter holiday break, basically. The Dep Lewis Freestyle Show, I mentioned before, once a week exclusive to Patreon, and a podcast without a plan. And Dep Lewis Shows Off, that's another series that I do. It is me playing a game, showing you around the game and talking over it while I'm playing it. So I have a handful of these done, maybe more than a handful that are on YouTube and Patreon. But I plan on doing these in 2024 for every new game that I purchase. So I think that is a great plan and a goal that I want to try to achieve. And I think would be really, really smart. So whenever I, purchase a new game, in the first week or so after playing it, I'm going to create a Dep Lewis Shows Off video and put that on the internet. So that is one of my goals for 2024. There already are some Dep Lewis Shows Off videos out there right now, so go check those out. There's been one for Dead Space and I don't know, I'm trying to think, Zelda, maybe a few other games. So you need to go check those out, and I just plan to put some more focus on that series in 2024. And then also Twitch streaming. I think that's the last element of what I'm trying to do, and the last thing I haven't fully committed to is I'd like to have a day or a 1 day a week where I do some Twitch streaming and get on there and put the mic on and talk and play some games. So maybe I'll start, I don't have to do all these things weekly. Maybe I can do it twice a month to start, but I just need to get in some type of routine is what I'm getting at with this. So I'm going to be having the 45 episodes of the podcast. I'm going to be having the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show, which will be 45 times as well. Going to be doing a lot more Dep Lewis Shows Off videos. So you'll be seeing more of those, and then possibly sprinkling some Twitch streaming in there as well. So maybe 2025 that can be more of a focus. But I want to get these this schedule in place and work that as I can, and just hopefully just get better at the podcast and bringing you the best video game news and much more every week is the plan. So let's see here. So those are the main scheduling things for the year. The Dep Lewis Show's office is a pretty big update, so you can expect some more video in that way. And then, hopefully in the new year, I can, maybe buy some less games and play more of them. Now, that's always something I need to try to do, and just something I want to say on this podcast. You'll see this year I played a lot of games, and I spread some hours over a whole bunch of different games, and I probably should have focused them a little more into fewer games, but I'm able to talk about them. I like trying new games, and that's kind of some of the fun for me. So, and I do this video game podcast, so it's helpful to be able to talk about some things. But dialing it back when it hurt, I think I'm fully in control of this show and being able to talk about whatever I'd like. So I'm just trying to fine tune these things is what I'm trying to do, especially at the beginning of a new year. I think it's a good time to think about those things. So let's see, what else do I want to talk about? I just want to talk about the video game industry as a whole is what I have written down here. I just want to say it's a pretty amazing thing. All the people that make the video games, very creative people, very technically smart people out there too. Got some great graphics and gameplay and loading and these consoles, the hardware. There's a lot that goes into this, getting these things out and in a timely manner. And we get so many good games, and it's easy to be able to come here and rank them because there's so many good ones, especially this year. So just really impressive to all the studios out there. You can have your favorite ones and you can root for them and you can look for the upcoming games. It's a little bit like rooting for a favorite sports team a little bit. And it's just really cool. There's multiple consoles you can play things on. There's all different ways. There's ever-changing ways on how to play games. It's just a really cool industry and form of entertainment, and it allows me to do this great podcast once a week. There's plenty of content for me to talk about, and endless content to talk about. It's all very interesting to me, and hopefully it is to you. So just thank you to the video game industry. And there's also been a lot of layoffs this year, especially around the holiday season. So those are always sad to see. And just as I get older in the universe, you just kind of see these things happening all the time. Layoffs are ever present, it seems, and security, job security is less and less, I feel like, these days around a lot of places. And some of these businesses, like a balancing thing, they get too big, and sales start going down a little bit, and they start dumping people. And then at a certain point, the sales start going up, and they decide again, hey, we need more people, and they bring them back. It just seems like the way it goes across many industries, and you definitely see that in the video game space, and I've seen it this year. So just because it's a trend and something you see doesn't make it any less sad for those people or frustrating or difficult. So just thinking of those people during this time. There's plenty of smart people all across the world, and you just wish them all the best is all you can do, really, or try to help them if you can. So I just want to highlight those on this show today. Anybody laid off from the wonderful video game industry, hopefully you land on your feet, and if not, hopefully you are managing that time okay, is what I would say. So just get into a little bit of harsh reality in there with the video game industry, but we're going to celebrate the video games today. That is the plan. And we're back. The Dep Lewis Show is back from the holiday break. That's very fun. And let's see, what else do I have to talk about in this? We talked about some plans. We thanked the video game industry. We talked about next year. Let's talk about next year. What's on the horizon for next year? General updates for life in 2024. I don't know. I have the lease on my place is up in May, so I can be making a decision on where to live again. That could be something. And then, video game wise, I've really been looking at Steam Decks lately. The Steam Deck OLED came out, in the last couple months. The Steam Deck's been out for a good while now, and I think I would like it. So I've been looking into it. The OLEDs are pretty expensive, but the thing that's enticing to me is the LCD is really discounted right now. I believe it's $350 for the base model. And I kind of am inclined to want to grab one just to try it out. I think I obviously like the OLED better and more storage, but I think picking up the base unit could be a good thing to try it, since I do have, I have all the consoles, and, sometimes I don't even like having all the consoles. I feel like it's too many. There's too many games across them. I can't play them all. So, but it's nice having the variety. So that's something I try to tell myself as well. Hey, maybe I don't like having all these consoles hooked up, or spreading my digital library across a few different platforms, but I still have the option to play it. It's not taking up all that much room, and it's more of I guess it's definitely a luxury, but it's more of just like a preference thing of where you want to play these things sometimes. And I think the Steam Deck would be really cool. I'm definitely interested in it. I've been interested in it since it was first released, so I think it's time I think about it some more, at least get a plan together to buy one at some point this year. But the other thing I'm looking out for this year is the possibility of a new Nintendo Switch. So possibly a Super Switch, Nintendo Switch 2, or I saw someone posting on Twitter a Nintendo Switch Advance. What they said would be the coolest title, and I'm a fan of all of those titles. But if there's a new Switch coming out, I'm definitely going to be wanting to buy that. I do always get the anxiety of when a new console comes out if you're not able just to get it on release day. I was able to get an Xbox Series X on release day, which was one of the more amazing things in recent history. But scoring my Nintendo Wii back in the day was one of the greatest things. I was basically hanging out at a GameStop waiting on the mail guy to possibly come through, and got lucky. But I want to prepare for buying a new Switch. So this is all, just getting your money ready and, being prepared to buy it when it drops and looking for the pre-orders. And, this show, I'll definitely be keeping you up to date on all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's a guarantee that the new Switch comes out next year, but I think it's possible we can at least get some news about it. And I do think it's pretty likely we'll get one from all the rumors and things I've heard just across the interwebs out there and all the different podcasts I listen to. So those are some of the video game things. I don't really have too many games in the upcoming year that I'm really super excited for. So that's a pretty big variable. I'm sure there's going to be a million games that I like, but nothing right now that I'm looking at the calendar besides Hades 2 and that game Windblown. And I'm sure there's some other ones, maybe the Wolverine. I don't think that comes out, but some other things. But I'm going to get into that in early January of looking at the calendar and starting to tell you about some games upcoming so I can learn those myself. So that's some of the plans for the new year. So I think that's going to wrap up this first section of the show. So this first section today was just some plans and updates for the Dep Lewis Show for 2024. So basically the scheduling updates that, there's going to be some designated weeks off for the show over the course of the year. So there's going to be a summer break, 2 weeks in July. It's the 7th and the 14th for 2024. And then the week of Thanksgiving, and then the 2 weeks prior to the last weekend of the year. So that's like a holiday break. So a summer break, a Thanksgiving break, and then a holiday break will be the 3 breaks for the Dep Lewis Show over the course of the year. And then I'm going to have another floating break for a possible sick day, and then another floating if something comes up in my life that I'm not able to record for a weekend, or I need to be doing something else. So possibility of 7 total misses on a 52-week year, so 45 episodes of the show. That is the plan. There's also the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show, which is exclusive to Patreon. That'll be on the same schedule as well, matching the main show. So please go check for that on Patreon. It's $1 a month for the ground floor tier right now for the first 100 patrons. I'll talk more about that at the end, but want to pump that right now. And then what other updates? I'm just giving you the highlights right now to wrap up this section. I'm going to definitely focus more on the Dep Lewis Shows Off series. So anytime I purchase a new game, I'm going to commit to getting a Dep Lewis Shows Off video out there on YouTube and Patreon. And just going to ready for a great year for 2024. But, we can't move on to the next year yet without, ranking and giving you all the best things from 2023. So that is what we're going to do in the midsection of this show. So the midsection of this show is going to be the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2023. You don't want to miss it. There's 6 exciting categories, all ending with the best game of the year. So we're going to come back after this wonderful music from friend of the show, Ballness, and we're going to get into the Dep Lewis Show Awards. So, definitely get your popcorn, get a drink, charge up your headphones or your speakers or whatever you're doing. Get a video game out, play something and listen to this podcast and get ready for all the best things of 2023 after the break. Welcome back to the midsection of the best show you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show, episode 60. And this is a very special midsection today because we are going to do the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2023. It's going to be the 2nd annual Dep Lewis Show Awards. It's going to be the best one yet. So this year, there are 6 total categories. And the final category will be Best Video Game of the Year. So we're going to talk about all the rankings and how the rankings were decided. and what all the best things of the year are. So, that's what we're here to do for these Dep Lewis Show Awards. So, welcome to the show. Welcome to the real show within the show. The thing you came here for. Say, give me the rankings, give me the best things, give me the best games. And that's what I'm here to do. So I'm also going to give you the best video game from a prior year. So that's going to be, something I played this year that's from a prior year that I really enjoyed. So I have a list of those. Another category is going to be the top game I feel I missed this year. So there was a ton of great games that came out in 2023. I couldn't play them all. So I have a list of the games that I would most likely want to get to of the stuff I haven't played. And then another category we have, category 3, is going to be best video game music of the year. So there's a lot of contenders in that category on some games that I haven't really even played, but I've listened to the soundtrack. So I'm going to have a lot of good music in that section. Then category 4 is going to be the best video game character of the year. So we're going to rank all the best characters from games from 2023. And then the category 5 is going to be actually a non-video game category. I'm going to rank my favorite book of the year. So I read 9 books this year. So I'm going to put those in order of which one I thought was best. A lot of these are new releases from 2023, but some are older books. But I'm just going to, as I go over the course of the year, it's just going to rank my favorite books, that I've read that year. And then the final category, the one you're really here for, is the best video game of the year. So I'm going to tell you the top 10 games of the year for the Dep Lewis Show and give out the biggest award possible to that number one game. So you don't want to miss it. And we're going to get into it right now. So let's get started. We're going to start with the first category. The first category is the best video game from a prior year. So there are 7 games that were in this category. And we're going to start with number 7. So number 7 is Rocket League. So Rocket League is something that I've played, in the fourth quarter of this year, a whole lot. I've played a bunch of Rocket League over the course of the years, played a bunch with friends, but all this time playing this year has been some solo Rocket League, just trying to, play some games, play some casual games, play some competitive games. And I played a whole lot of this at the end of the year. So I think I just wanted to give it this nod here on the award show. I don't know if I'm going to play more Rocket League over the course of next year. I'm kind of trying to push a little bit away from multiplayer games because I have a lot of other games I need to make some progress in. And, Rocket League's fun, but you get people chirping at you on there, and I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if I need to be playing multiplayer games like that. But Rocket League definitely holds a place on this list of best video game from a prior year because I played a whole lot of it this year. And I think it's cool that you can have it on your multiple platforms and carry your profile over. So I just want to say Rocket League is still going great. I'll probably see myself playing some more of it, but I'm a little bit sick of Rocket League at the moment because I think I played too much of it over the holiday break. But it is number 7 on the best video game from a prior year. And number 6 best video game from a prior year is Fortnite. So another game in the same vein. I'm still planning on playing some more Fortnite though. But Fortnite's not something that I play solo typically, so it's a little bit of a different beast. But it's number 6 on the best video game from a prior year for me this year. I really got into some Fortnite this year with a couple of the friends of the show and friends in real life. I bought a skin. I bought Rey from Star Wars. And I've been checking the skins almost every day for a couple months now. And really into Fortnite. I really liked when the OG map was going on this year. Thought that was a whole lot of fun. That was probably the most fun I had this year in Fortnite. And, we haven't played so much since the OG map went away. But, some friends are still playing it. And there's still some opportunity to play it out there. And I still think it's one of the best multiplayer games that you can play with your friends if you're just looking for something easy to get into. You can play it on multiple platforms as well. I think that's a really cool thing. I hope to see more games going towards that in the future, of being able to have cross-platform saves and cross-platform, connectivity. But Fortnite's a great game, and I will see myself playing some more of this in 2024, I would say. So, you could see this game on this list again next year. All right, the next game for best video game from a prior year, number 5, is Vampire Survivors. And Vampire Survivors is an amazing game. It was the second best game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show in 2022. I played a whole bunch of this. I've been playing it on Xbox. I've been playing it on my Switch. I think I finally decided that I need to just play it on Switch. So I've just recently committed to one platform on this game. But it does work really well on the Xbox. It's on Game Pass. And you can use the quick resume, which is really nice. But, on the Switch, you're able to sleep it. And you can stop in the middle of your run if you want to. But Vampire Survivors is an amazing game. It's very inexpensive. I think you can buy the base game and all the DLC for less than $10. You can buy the base game for less than $3 or something like that. So please go buy Vampire Survivors. Please give it a shot. It's a addicting game. It's very simple, but there's also like combos and things in there and different characters and just different things you want to pick up on the map and different objectives to try to do. There's more than meets the eye with Vampire Survivors, and I really love that game. It's one of my favorite games of all time, I would say, and I'm going to continue playing it. And I've been playing it. I was playing it last night before going to sleep, and still unlocking characters. And I love Vampire Survivors, so please go play that. Number 5 on the best video game from a prior year. So number 4 is a game that was the number 1 game for the Dep Lewis Show in 2022, and that is Splatoon 3. So I've been playing a good bit of Splatoon 3 over the course of the year. I played most of the Splatfest over the course of the year, so that definitely earns it a spot on this list. I don't know if I'm going to continue playing Splatoon in 2024, but it's very possible. I don't like having to subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online. If I'm playing a Splatfest, it's once every other month or something like that. You could subscribe for just a month, but it's just something that's a little bit annoying to me of having to subscribe to that. It puts like the commitment out there and it makes me not want to play it. And you're having to pay your money to pay for Nintendo Switch Online. But there are some cool things. I would even like to maybe buy the expansion pass, which is $50, get you access to some old games. And I just saw 1080 Snowboarding was on there, so that's a game I really loved from when I was younger. And some of those things are trying to get me hooked, but that's what they're trying to do, to get you to put your hard-earned cash out there. But Splatoon 3 is a wonderful game. There's still Splatfest going on, and it's still a game. I've never played the single player in that game, but I've played the multiplayer so much that it won my game of the year for last year. So Splatoon 3 is a wonderful game. They have really cool amiibo. There's supposed to be I think it's called the Side Order. There's supposed to be some DLC coming out for this game in 2024. I believe it's all single player focused, but it's definitely something I want to talk about on this show. So Splatoon 3 is still a wonderful game. So it's number 4 on best video game from a prior year. All right, number 3 is Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC. Is the specific part, but Dead Cells. And this is another game I played on Xbox this year. I played it on Switch this year. I think Switch is the best way to play because you can do the handheld. But this is adding Castlevania content into Dead Cells. So a perfect combination of 2 franchises. I think the Castlevania area is some of the best content in this game. And, Dead Cells is an amazing game just in general. And then this DLC, I would say, definitely purchase this. There's other DLC available for Dead Cells as well. I think it's all worthwhile. It's all pretty inexpensive. I think the base game is $15 to $20. And then some of the DLC packs are just a few dollars. So if you're looking for a good roguelite, and it's just one of the best of those. It really is. It's one of the best roguelites in the world, in existence. So Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC. I considered putting this game on the Game of the Year list, but I decided this was a good category for games such as this. Or, if a game if I played, I don't know, I would potentially put some DLC on the best game of the year, but I think this is the perfect category for these type of things. So that's kind of my thoughts on it right now. But if that problem arises in the future, I'm already seeing I'm gonna have to address it in some way. But Dead Cells and the Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC is number 3 best video game from a prior year. All right, number 2 is gonna go to. So, I am very notorious for not finishing video games. So starting them, trying them, and not completing them. So when I do complete a game, it's a pretty big milestone in my mind, and it's something that I'm working towards in 2024. I want to complete some more games, play less, complete more, and that's something I always tell myself. I don't always achieve it, and it's not the worst thing. We're talking about video games here, but since I do a podcast, it's what a perfect opportunity to try something like this and think about it. So that's what I'm doing. And these last 2 games on the list of best video game from a prior year, the top 2 games are 2 games that I completed this year. So number 2, the best video game from a prior year is Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. And I played this on my PlayStation 5. This was something I played on the PlayStation 4, maybe just for a handful of hours back in the day, but I completed this. And I love Miles Morales as a character. I beat the first Spider-Man game, loved it. And I don't know, this game was really, really fun. I enjoy Miles, and there's been the release of Spider-Man 2 this year, which is the game where you can play Peter and Miles. So I don't know. I don't know if this game, we're going to get into a little bit on my Game of the Year list, if playing this game this year affected me jumping into Spider-Man 2. I think it did a little bit, but I think Miles Morales, without having, I don't know, this might be my favorite of the Spider-Man games. I just really, really enjoyed it. All the powers are cool. You forget how much fun swinging around the city is. Miles' mom, Genki, just all his friends, Finn. Just really, really cool story. Really short and sweet and just fun. And the open world is great. And, definitely deserving of the number 2 spot on the best video game from a prior year. All right, so the first winner we're going to have for the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2023. And the winner of the best video game from a prior year category is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Really amazing game. I didn't play this when it first came out because I didn't have a PlayStation 5. I had some trouble finding a PlayStation 5 when they first got released, so it took me over a year to actually get one. But this was the first game I purchased and wanted to play, and I finally completed it this year, and I think it's one of my favorite games of all time too. I really love the Ratchet & Clank series. I love the character of Ratchet, and this game has made me fall in love with the character of Rivet. So I think Rivet is one of the coolest characters in video games going. So she's up there on my list of favorite video game characters of all time. So I'm a really big Lombax fan, and just a really, really cool game. It was a good showcase for the PlayStation 5. All the combat was fun. I liked that it has different difficulty modes. The only things I didn't like in this were some of the Clank sections, the Clank puzzle sections, but I was able to look up the solutions online, or able to make my way through them, enough. But I'm just not the biggest puzzle game person, so sometimes those can frustrate me. But other than that, this game was an epic adventure and the best video game from a prior year for in 2023. So congratulations to Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart for being the best game and the best game I completed this year. So, or hey, not the best game I completed, but the best game I completed from a prior year. So that's going to wrap up the first category on the Dep Lewis Show Awards. So let's just go down that list again. Number 7, Rocket League. Number 6, Fortnite. Number 5, Vampire Survivors. Number 4, Splatoon 3. Number 3, Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC. Number 2, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. And number 1, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. So congratulations. So that was category 1. Let's get into category 2. Category 2 is the top video game I feel I missed this year. So this is the top game that was released in 2023 that I did not play, and I would like to still play going forward in the year. So number 5 on that list is Dredge. And Dredge is on sale right now on a lot of platforms. It is a fishing game. It's a survival horror fishing game. I think it's under $20. It's been on a lot of people's Game of the Year list and seems very fun. It seems like a fishing sim, and it's just its own special take on that is what I've heard. But Dredge looks very cool. It's available on different platforms, and it is the number 5 top game I feel I missed this year. Number 4 of the top game I feel I missed this year is Dave the Diver. So some more seafaring games, and this is another one that is available on Switch and PC. It's a roguelite. You are, the main loop is you are diving down in the sea, you are harpooning fish and beating fish up, and then you're making them into sushi in your restaurant. So you go all day swimming around the ocean and collecting the fish, and then the nighttime, the kind of recap thing, or the base area is, your restaurant. So you're cooking sushi, you're making profits, you're doing other things like that. And I don't know, I've been a little bit, I've been interested in this game because I've only heard good things, and this one seems like I think there's been talk over the year if this is actually an indie game, but this game has had like indie game buzz. It's been one of those games that people are playing. Oh, I've been playing a lot of Dave the Diver. Have you played this yet? Have you heard of this? Have you seen this yet? It's been a lot of people's like sleeper hits. So it just definitely seems like a game I would be into, but I just haven't pulled the trigger yet on purchasing it. But it's something that I want to buy in 2024. Dave the Diver. So some more swimming games out there, some more seafaring games. All right, number 3 of the top game I feel I missed this year. It's something I actually played the demo of, is Octopath Traveler 2. And this game has reviewed very well. I don't know if anybody's picked it for the game of the year, but a lot of people have said it's their favorite RPG of the year. It's a turn-based RPG. There's 8 different characters, 8 different viewpoints. The music in this game is wonderful, and I played the demo and really enjoyed it. I think the only thing that scares me away from this game is I think it is like 70, 100 hours to complete, and that has been something over the holiday break I've been looking at on. I need to get back on focusing on not trying to complete really, really long games, because it's not something I do very well. So I have a little bit of a list going, and I'm keeping one of these. I'm calling them like pipe dream games, or I'm keeping like one of them installed on each of my consoles, but I'm not going to pressure myself to try to complete them or say I'm going to complete them, because then I think I never will. But Octopath Traveler 2, it's been on sale a lot for $40. I'm definitely tempted to pick it up, but I think by the time I want to play it, it'll possibly be cheaper. But very cool game, and it's number 3 on the top game I feel I missed this year. All right, the last 2 games on this list, the top 2, are 2 games that I've actually purchased over the course of the weekend. So one I ordered, it's coming in the mail, and the other one I picked up on PlayStation. So I've played this top game a little bit, so it's a little bit of a I feel I missed this year, but I did, I made this list pretty simultaneously, and I've only played, maybe 30 minutes of it, so pretty new. But the number 2 game on top game I feel I missed this year, and this is something I have in the mail right now, is Metroid Prime Remastered. So this game apparently is around 13 to 15 hours to complete, so I think that is right in my wheelhouse. It's been touted as one of the best remasters of the year. It has updated the controls to, fit modern control sensibilities and movement. So I think that's something I'm going to enjoy. Now, I definitely have a little bit of it's not a fascination, but I really have a respect for Metroid. I think it's cool. I love the way it looks. I love Samus as a character. I think it's something that's just been too hard for me sometimes, but I'm going to use a guide on this game if I need to, and it's one of my goals is to complete this game in 2024. So Metroid Prime Remastered is number 2 on the top game I feel I missed this year. And the number 1 game on the top game I feel I missed this year is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. This is something I purchased on PlayStation over the weekend. It's actually something that's on sale right now on Switch, and you can actually get it on sale on Amazon for Switch and PlayStation. So, check it out if you'd like to. Some early highlights from this are the music and the controls. So you're skating around or skateboarding around. There's amazing music. It's a little bit of an open world. I think it has some Jet Set Radio vibes, or it's made by the same people that made that game. It's Team Reptile. It's very fun. I've just been trying to, I've only had maybe 2 sessions with it, but it's been what I've been playing over the weekend a little bit, and just very cool. It has a great style to it, the music, and then the gameplay. It all seems really, really cool. I don't think it's a very long experience either. I think it's less than 15 hours, so, hopefully this will be something that I complete in 2024 and can, rank it for best video game from a prior year next year. But something I think looks really, really cool, and that is why I'm going to make it number 1 on the top game I feel I missed this year for the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2023. So congratulations to Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, winner of Category 2. All right, so let's keep on moving. Let's keep on moving on these awards. So the third category is the Best Video Game Music of the Year. So this is a list of 7 games, and most of these games I've played, but some of these I've just listened to the soundtrack, really. So it doesn't, music you can listen to on its own. You don't have to listen to it with the game, but I think it's a nice, it's always a nice mixture when those 2 things go well together, and a lot of these games do that. So number 7 on this list, there's 7 games on this ranking, so 7 is Alan Wake 2. And Alan Wake 2, I've only played a handful of hours of Alan Wake 2, but the music is very cool. And then if you've seen any of the live performances or seen any kind of spoilery type things for Alan Wake 2, there's some really, really amazing music and, set pieces in this game. So if you search those out a little bit, you can find them. But Alan Wake 2 has some really, really cool music, and something that I need to get into more in 2024. It's on my list of things to complete because I believe it's less than, or it might be around 20 hours to complete. So Alan Wake 2 taking up number 7 on Best Video Game Music of the Year. All right, number 6 is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. A really short, wonderful experience, a great game, and it has great music all throughout. So, the music changes depending on if you hit the Wonder Seeds. There's all sorts of cool little background noises. The menu music, just everything in this game is pleasing to the ear. and visually as well. But the music in this game is really great. I just don't know if it's something you would put on, outside the game, but it works really well in the context of the game. So, it definitely deserves a spot on this list. But that is why it is number 6. And I guess Mario music too is a little more just kind of cheerful and lighter than, some of these other games' music. So you might not listen to them as much, on their own, is what I would say, just from my experience. But lovely music either way. And number 6 was Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And then number 5 on Best Video Game Music of the Year is Super Mario RPG. So another Mario game. I think the music in this is slightly better because you get some different like battle music and overworld music and just different music based on the different areas. And all the sounds in this game are good too. So I think that's probably involved in this a little bit as well, just the overall sounds of the world, but more so the music. But like Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I don't know if I would throw on the Super Mario RPG soundtrack if there is one, but the game and the music works perfectly together, and I think that's really, really a great thing. So while I'm talking through this, I think that's a pretty good balance of great in-game music and then great music in-game that's also great outside the game. So I think some of these games at the top of this list are going to be more so in that category of just great music on its own. But Super Mario RPG gets number 5, Best Video Game Music of the Year. All right, number 4 is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So I heard a lot of complaints over the course of the year that the music in this game is pretty similar to Breath of the Wild. It's still kind of the stripped down, like orchestral kind of music, but I think it's very beautiful. I think it's very it sets a great tone in the game, and I think it's perfect for this game. I think it really is. So the music is definitely a big highlight from Zelda. I would put on the Zelda soundtrack. I think it's very relaxing. There's not as many upbeat kind of things going, but definitely a lot of like swells and just kind of relaxing and tone setting and ambient noises and things like that. So Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, number 4 on Best Video Game Music of the Year. All right, so this top 3 on this list are all things that I would recommend the soundtracks. That I think the soundtracks are perfect standalone. You can go bump these whenever you like to. I bump these, when I'm working or you just want something to focus on, or even, I talked about playing Rocket League, putting some of these soundtracks on while playing a podcast game like Rocket League. But number 3 on Best Video Game Music of the Year is Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars, the turn-based RPG. It's kind of a throwback. I think the composer of Chrono Cross, I think he was involved with this music, so I think that's a pretty amazing pedigree. Just a wonderful soundtrack. All great different kind of moods in this soundtrack, and I don't know, go listen to it. It's a great reason to play the game. It's a great reason to listen to the soundtrack. And this one, I went back and forth with these top 3 of which one could be the best, but I've settled on Sea of Stars being number 3. So Sea of Stars, number 3, Best Video Game Music of the Year. Number 2 is a game I have not played at all, is Chia, Tchia. The soundtrack for this is amazing though. It's very relaxing. Has kind of like islandy vibes. There's a little bit of some like chanty, sing-songy stuff going on there, but just very relaxing. Great background music. Just sets. I think these games just put me in a great headspace when listening to this music. It makes me feel good. It some of these things are great for for thinking or writing down notes for the Dep Lewis Show. Some of these things are pretty perfect for that, and it's a very valuable thing in my life, having some music like that to relax or chill to, or even get some writing done or whatever it may be. So Chia, number 2. I still don't know if I'd play that game. It seems kind of like an open world kind of exploratory thing, but there's a lot of animals in it, which I like. But something just on my radar. But the soundtrack is something I'm going to be bumping into 2024 and beyond. All right, the number 1 game for the Best Video Game Music of the Year is something I played the demo of. So I mentioned this in the prior section, and that is Octopath Traveler 2. And when I played the demo, I don't remember what section it was. It had one of the coolest songs I've ever heard. It sounded like a beat from like a rap song. But this game also has like more orchestral stuff or, melodic, things you would expect from a turn-based RPG. But it does some unexpected things. I think it's really, really good at getting all the different moods across and different tones. And, I kind of said that with Sea of Stars, but, these are RPG music, so you kind of know what you're getting into with this. But Octopath Traveler 2 does the music you would expect well, but they also have some curveballs in there. So really wonderful soundtrack. You can listen to it on its own, and that's what I've been doing. I've been finding a way to enjoy some of these games, through their music, besides, instead of just playing them. So, I've determined, and I've known for a long time that I can't play every game in the world, but another way that I can enjoy them and find time to fit in the content is listen to some of these soundtracks. So I think this will be a ongoing category for me, over the course of the years, and something that I really, really enjoy and like, and is an important part of my everyday life with some of these things, is listening to this music. So really big shout out to all these games, and congratulations to Octopath Traveler 2 for having the best video game music of the year. So let's just run down those 7 again real quick. Alan Wake 2, these are best video game music of the year. Number 7, Alan Wake 2. Number 6, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Number 5, Super Mario RPG. Number 3, Sea of Stars. Number 2, Chia. And number 1, Octopath Traveler 2. So congratulations, Octopath Traveler 2. All right. Moving along on these Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2023. Let's get into category 4, the best video game character of the year. So these are characters from 2023, and we have 9 characters on this list. So let's start with number 9. And number 9 is going to be Mr. Geno from Super Mario RPG. He's a warrior from Star Road. He's sent by a higher authority to restore peace to Mario's world by inhabiting a wooden doll. So, looking at the box art, I wasn't immediately intrigued by Geno and his wooden doll nature. But once I got to meet Geno in the game, and he has a pretty important mission, so that makes me like him. And then he also has some great abilities in battle. So I love his gun that he shoots. Or I guess it's like shooting little wooden pellets or whatever, but it's a really powerful thing. It looks really great. I love the feedback from when you go. There's a lot of timing-based things in Super Mario RPG, and the timing-based, like boosting the attack on the gun, is really, really fun to do. It feels great. So Geno has been a character I've liked more than I thought I would, and that is why he is number 9 on the best video game character of the year for 2023. All right, number 8 goes to Saga Anderson from Alan Wake 2. And Saga Anderson is an FBI agent with a gifted track record due to her supernatural abilities of profiling victims and suspects in her mind place through telepathy. So I've played less than 10 hours of Alan Wake 2, but Saga Anderson is an extremely cool character. You were mainly playing as her early in the game. She just comes off as very cool, very smart. Her voice actor is great. The way her character looks is cool. She's just cool, and she's really, really smart. She seems like she has a great handle on life, but then she also doesn't have a handle on life. So it just kind of shows you the duality of man, or something people would say. But Saga Anderson has all the credentials of one of the smartest people in the world, but then some of the basic things in life are a mystery to her, and becoming a mystery, and just, I think that's just a pretty good analogy for life in general. It's pretty mysterious out here in general. So Saga Anderson, very cool character. I think she makes a great first impression, and I think a really, really strong first impression. So I can only imagine playing through that game that I would love her even more. But I think a lot of people do. So Alan Wake 2 is definitely on my list for finishing a game in 2024. And Saga Anderson, number 8, best character of the year. All right, number 7 goes to Amy Rose, who was added to Sonic Origins Plus. So that was one of the biggest additions to Sonic Origins Plus. And I'm a Sonic fan, but not like a hardcore one. I played some Sonic games over the years, but I really didn't know Amy Rose. So when I saw she was getting added to this game, I'm just like, okay, I like the way she looks, and I decided I would play as her when I played any of these games in this collection. So really, really fun to use her across all the different games in this Origins Plus collection. She has a crush on Sonic. She has declared herself Sonic's girlfriend and has attempted to win his heart by any means in many of their adventures. And she has a short temper and is obsessive about Sonic, but I'm really just going off I think she looks cool, and I had fun playing with her in Sonic. So I just think I think it was cool that I've never really known about her, and there's a million different games now I can play with Amy Rose in if I'd like to. So it's just, I think the novelty here was not knowing about her and liking her so much. So Amy Rose, congratulations to you, number 7 on best video game character of the year. All right, number 6 goes to Ochi from Pikmin 4. Ochi is a rescue pup. He is a type of space dog that is part of the rescue corps. Rescue Corps and assists with transportation and working like a Pikmin as well. He is from the planet Gaia, and his hair color is golden. So Ochi walking around on his 2 feet, his 2 foots, is just a cute little guy, one of the cutest guys in Pikmin 4. He makes the game fun. You can ride around on his back. You can use him to break things. You can train him up. And he does work like a Pikmin. He can go pick things up for you and carry them back to your ship. And he looks cool. One of the best parts about Pikmin 4, Ochi, I'd love to have a stuffed animal Ochi. I'd love to have an amiibo Ochi. I think he's just one of the coolest characters around, and a really big highlight in the Pikmin 4 game. So Ochi, number 6, you're a good boy, and congratulations to you on being the 6th best video game character of the year. All right, number 5 goes to Garl from the Sea of Stars. And Garl is a resident of Moon Cradle, and though he's not a solstice warrior, he works together with his best friends Valerie and Zale, other great characters as well. The Elder Mist, who is a really cool character, hesitantly approves of Garl, and requires that he remembers his own limitations when it comes to combat. So it is written in the stars that his heart just might be warm enough to soothe a long-tormented soul. And his favorite food is food. He is a warrior cook. So I think Garl is a beloved character because he is the everyman. He is the more, the person you're relating to in the story, most likely. Most likely you're not a chosen solstice warrior. You're most likely an everyman who you don't really know how you're going to help, but you just want to, and you just need a chance from someone like the Elder Mist. That's kind of what it is. So Garl is a really cool character, really lovable. And then his, he's a cook, so that makes him lovable too. He's kind of a chubby little guy. He'll heal you up in battle. He cooks like nice dishes, and he can also fight as well. So he'll fight. He's ready to fight. He's a good friend, and Garl is definitely deserving of the number 5 best character of the year. So shout out to you, Garl. All right, number 4. I think every character from here on out, I don't know, I love all these characters on the list a whole lot, but every character from 4 up, I think could have been number 1. And over different times of the year, they could have been number 1, but I had to rank them, so that's what we did here. So it can be a little difficult. So number 4 goes to King Rauru from The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. So early on in the year, you probably couldn't have told me nothing. King Rauru was my guy. He was introduced in Tears of the Kingdom. He founded the kingdom depicted in the Era of the Wilds as its first king of Hyrule, with his Hylian wife, Queen Sonia. So, the Zonai and the Hylians coming together to create something magical. So his race he's a Zonai. Their ancestors came down from the heavens a long time ago and were said to be descendants of gods. With the power of their secret stones, which possessed immense power, he became a great leader and met Sonia, his future wife. After some time, Rauru would give Sonia a secret stone and together founded the kingdom of Hyrule. So really cool history. I really love the way his character looks. I love the way, just his whole vibe. He has a very chill vibe, a very caretaking vibe, just a very powerful, smart, but very, very laid back. So Rauru is very cool. And then there was also shrines in Zelda you get to that were King Rauru shrines, and they were just basically like a free shrine. So, I'm a big noob in games, and those shrines sometimes are a little bit overwhelming to me. So when I walked into a Rauru shrine, I was just so blessed and so happy that he is deserving of the number 4 ranking on the best video game character of the year, and one of the best characters of all time to me. King Rauru, you're wonderful. I love you, Mr. Rauru. All right, number 3 best video game character of the year goes to a character. I know I might kind of have a crush on this character, and it's definitely going to try to romance him in this game, and that is Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate 3. So Shadowheart is an origin character and a recruitable companion with the Acolyte background. She's half elf, and she's a loyal servant of the goddess Shar. Shadowheart can be cold and calculating, willing to do whatever is necessary to serve the Dark Lady with devotion. So Shadowheart's been my favorite character in my party by far. I am always trying to talk to her and make sure she's approving of what I do for the most part. And, I'm going to be trying to romance her in this game. This game has some romance going on. Shadowheart's already feeling me a little bit too. She said she likes my character and she's just waiting for the right time. So it's been cool to go down that little bit of road to see, how that content's going to go. But, she really is a cool character. Baldur's Gate 3 has a lot of cool characters. I think that's the biggest strength of the game, is the characters, the voice acting, the different personalities going on. So I'm really just kind of into the Shadowheart personality and the backstory. She's like she's saying, she's a servant of the goddess Shar, so it's kind of like a religious thing going on. But she's also had her memory wiped, and is just trying to fulfill a mission. She doesn't really know what's going on. So Shadowheart's, there's some missing pieces to her story here, but I'm really trying to help her on that journey in the game. And she has a really powerful artifact with her that's protected us a few times, and she's really dodgy about asking her about it. So I've been kind of laying off on that, but she's been opening up over the course of the game and telling me some more things. So really, really cool. And I think I think Baldur's Gate 3 just does characters in general. So I just wanted to make sure I picked my favorite one. And Shadowheart, number 3. Shout out to you. All right, number 2. Best video game characters of the year. And this 1 and 2 was really tough, but number 2 goes to Mallow from Super Mario RPG. I think one of the cutest characters of the year. He's so cute. He's so cool looking. You know, he's one of my favorite things to look at on the box art. And then once I met him in the game, it was over. I'm a huge Mallow fan. I think it's funny. He thought he was a tadpole. He thought he was the grandson of the frog sage. I mean, he is the grandson, but he's not like he was adopted basically. So the frog sage took care of him. So he's really, really cool. He's mainly just winning off his cuteness. He's also helpful with getting advice from his grandpa on what to do in the game. He's Mario's first partner in the game, and he has a strong command of magic and the ability to heal. So I really do appreciate that as a healer in my party. I'm always looking to have one of those close by. So, you know, having Mallow as the healer, it was perfect for me. So I'm trying to protect Mallow at all cost. He's trying to protect my party at all cost. And Mallow, another one. I'd love a Mallow stuffed animal to give my dog, or, you know, an action figure or an amiibo. Anything Mallow, I would like a t-shirt with him on it. You know, I'm going to be looking for some of these characters in the future. And Mallow, you are number 2 in my heart for this year. So way to go, Mallow, number 2. Best character of the year. So that means there's only one spot left. So the best video game character of the year for Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2023 goes to Tulin from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I think he's the best partner you could ask for. He gives you one of the best tools in the game for mobility that really, really changes things. So he gives you his gust of wind. So you're able to use your paraglider, but then you're able to get a gust of wind that recharges, you know, every so recharges on a timer, and you can use it again. So just really cool. I think he's a cool looking character. I think he's cool looking. I like the missions that you do with him in the game. I love the ability that you get. You know, you have his avatar going. He creates an avatar which he gives the Link to always be by his side and blow that gust of wind. So he's the Sage of Wind. And he has a bigger role in this game than he did in Breath of the Wild. I think he wins this category because he has all the things I like in the character. His personality, I think he looks cool. I like interacting with him in the game, but then he also provides a very important element that helps your gameplay. So I think that's why he takes the cake in this game. Takes the cake for me in this category as the best video game character of the year. So that goes to Tulin from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And, you know, shout out to all these characters. I'd love to hang out with you at a party, and or, you know, go out to dinner or do something fun with you. So all these characters are amazing, and shout out to Tulin, best video game character of the year. All right, so let's go run down those one more time, actually. So starting at 9, Gino from Super Mario RPG. 8, Saga Anderson, Alan Wake 2. 7, Amy Rose, Sonic Origins Plus. 6, Ochi Pikmin 4. 5, Garl, Sea of Stars. 4, King Raru, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. 3, Shadowheart, Baldur's Gate 3. 2, Mallow, Super Mario RPG. And number 1, Tulin, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for Best Video Game Character of the Year. All right, so next category. Moving on to category 5. This is our only non-video game category, and that is favorite book of the year. So the friend of the show, Pab, he always recommends some great books to me. He's had me on a good track for a couple years now, so a lot of these are Pab recommendations or Pab series that I've started to love myself. You know, most of these books on this list came out in the current year, but some are from the previous year as well, or previous years. But I want to put them in order, so these are the 9 books I finished this year. I'm hoping for next year to finish somewhere around. I'm kind of thinking of a goal. You know, I set a Goodreads goal. Goodreads is the app I like to use for book tracking. And you can set a goal every year for how many books you'd like to read. So I think I've done this the last 3 years. This year I didn't quite hit my goal. I think I said 13 and I only read 9. I think next year I'm going to try to complete the same amount of games as I do books. I'm thinking of possibly shooting for 7. And then obviously ranking them at the end of the year is what I'll do always. So this should be a category every year for the Dep Lewis Show Awards as a non-video game category, just to give you some insight into the books I'm reading, since I do talk about these on the podcast, and it's just a fun thing to rank and something different. So let's get into these. Category 5, favorite book of the year. So number 9 is The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. So Brandon Sanderson is one of my favorite authors. He had a quarterly release of secret projects, and this was one of them. I enjoy all his books. It's definitely, I can recommend all of these books on this list to read. I didn't have any disappointments out of these books, but I just think this one's number 9, the weakest. This was kind of a standalone thing, a little bit of time travel stuff going on here. So Sando trying some different things going on, and that's why it's number 9 on the best favorite book of the year. Number 8 is also another book by Brandon Sanderson, another one of these quarterly updates, but slightly better in my mind is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. So number 8 on the list. Another just very enjoyable book, more of a standalone thing. So I think the strength of Sanderson, a lot of his books are like mega series, or he has his Cosmere and non-Cosmere stuff, but he has his different series within there. So that's something that there's 5 or 6 different series that he's written that I'm in love with all the characters and looking at the progression of them. So I'm probably going to favor those for the most part. But I did enjoy getting these quarterly books. It was not too expensive to buy them, and just very, very cool. He puts out a lot of content. So, go read anything by Brandon Sanderson. I'm sure you'll enjoy it in some way. So number 8, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. So number 7 on this list is actually, I think this book came out the prior year, but I just read it this year, and it's called I'd Like to Play Alone, Please by Tom Segura. So, a book written by a comedian, a little bit different than stuff I normally read. I'm normally reading kind of like fantasy or high fantasy books. So this was a nice change of pace. It was just basically Tom telling some stories from his life in a funny way. It was a very short read, so pretty low time commitment and just very, very enjoyable. So just wanted to shout that out. I think he did a good job on executing a book, and that is not something you always expect from a comedian. So I'd Like to Play Alone, Please by Tom Segura, number 7, best book of the year. All right, number 6 is probably from my second favorite author in the world, and that is Will White, and that is the book The Captain. So Will White is the author of the Cradle series, one of my favorite series in the world. And the main thing that he's written, or the main thing that he's written that I love, is the Cradle series. But he also has some other works out there, and this is a start of a new series. So the Captain came out earlier in the year. I really enjoy it. It's more of a spacefaring kind of thing, flying around in a spaceship. So it's a little bit of a change up from the Cradle world and flying around and having new powers like that. The second book in the this little series came out just recently, called The Engineer. I've heard good things about that as well. I've heard it's actually better than The Captain. So that's on my list of things to read for next year. But The Captain earns number 6 on Best Book of the Year by Will White, or Best Book of the Year, The Captain by Will White, number 6. All right, number 5 is a really, really wonderful book, one of the most relaxing, easy, stress-free books I've ever read, called Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. So I'm actually in the midst of reading the book that came out this year called Bookshops and Bone Dust, which is the prequel to this book. But Legends and Lattes was something I was turned on to by a friend of the show, Pab. It was an amazing book about an orc who is not able to battle and has to get into a different line of business. So just a little bit of a different change from something where there'd be like a big epic battle, You're having a battle in a coffee shop. So just a really, really cool change of pace kind of book. A great mix amongst the other types of things I like to read. And Legends and Lattes is deserving of the number 5 favorite book of the year for the Dep Lewis Show Awards. All right, number 4 is another book written by Brandon Sanderson, one of his quarterly books from the year, Secret Projects. And this was, I guess this one was by far his best one. It was Tress of the Emerald Sea. So let me make sure I got all those on there. 1, 2, 3. I feel like maybe I missed one of those Secret Projects. I don't know, but Tress of the Emerald Sea. I'll correct that if I need to after the show. But Tress of the Emerald Sea, number 4, a wonderful book. It was a little bit more tied into the Cosmere, so I think that's why it was more enjoyable. I think Sando does some really good, talking about seafaring stuff. I think he does a great job at I don't know, being on the ship, riding across the sea, that kind of adventure. I think he just does a great job. He's had some other side stories kind of in that same kind of vein, and they've been really, really enjoyable. So, Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, number 4, best favorite book of the year. I'm trying to think what the other secret project was. I'm going to look it up right now. Secret project. Yumi. Oh, The Sunlit Man. Okay. So that is another book. That was the other secret project, The Sunlit Man. I haven't read that one yet. So that should be a book on the rankings for next year, most likely. But that was the 4th secret project by Mr. Sando. All right, number 3, favorite book of the year. This is a book from a way prior year, but Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This was given to me as a gift by a friend of the show, Pab, and friend in real life. So I have a nice hard copy cover of this, and I love video games. I do a video game podcast, and this was a perfect book, I would say, to read if you're a video game fan, and if you're just a fan of fiction in general. It was just a really cool adventure, especially if you're into technology and things like that. Really, really great book, and had a lot of fun reading this, and this was one that was hard to put down and was a really quick read because it was so enjoyable. So Ready Player One, great book. Heard the second one, not so much, but definitely deserving of number 3 favorite book of the year. All right, these next 2 are pretty interchangeable. I think there's some crossover in years here, so that's affecting it a little bit. But number 2, best book of the year, is Waybound by Will White. So the conclusion to the Cradle series, one of the best series out there in the world by Mr. Linden. Linden's one of the greatest characters out there, Mr. Wei Shea, and this is the epic conclusion, Mr. Waybound. So I think there's 12 books in the Cradle series, and you just need to go read them. A lot of times these books are free on Amazon. You can download the digital copies for free, but also the Kindle versions are pretty inexpensive, and there's also paperbacks available as well, and hardcover. So there's all sorts of things. Will White is really, really becoming very popular up there, getting towards Sando territory with his releases and his series and things like that. So Waybound, please go read Cradle. That's what I want to say. Go read Cradle. It's a great series, and eventually you'll get to the epic conclusion of Waybound. So number 2, best book of the year, favorite book of the year. And then number 1 is a book from the prior year that I just finished earlier in the year, and is The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. So this is book 7 in the Mistborn series, is on the Wax and Wayne side of the house. And, Wax and Wayne, 2 of the greatest characters of all time. Just a wonderful book. I believe it's the conclusion to that series as well. So some of these things are getting wrapped up that I love, which is sad. But these books are automatically going to be some of my favorites. So The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. I would say you can go start reading Wax and Wayne right now. You might want to start with the original Mistborn, but these books stand on their own. Just love the characters, love the setting, love the relationships, love the things they have to get into. And Brandon Sanderson, definitely my favorite author, and he's been proving that, year over year. And then next year, I think we get the next entry into the Way of Kings series for Kaladin, and I think there's not going to be a lot of other releases. So good thing I have some things to catch up on. I have some books I think I have maybe 4 or 5 books that I'm planning on finishing that I own already and plan on finishing for next year. But these are my favorite books of the year that I read. So number 9, The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. Number 8, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. Number 7, I'd Like to Play Alone Please by Tom Segura. Number 6, The Captain by Will White. Number 5, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. Number 4, Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Number 3, Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Number 2, Waybound by Will White. And number 1, The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. The best, or my favorite book of the year. I keep saying the best, but it's my favorite since we're doing multiple years. And so read some Brandon Sanderson, read some Will White. Those would be my 2 recommendations, and then a lot of other good books on there as well. So shout out to all the great books of the year. All right, so it is time to get into what you came here for and what we've been working towards all year, of playing all the video games of the year, all the wonderful releases. A lot of people say this is one of the best years in video gaming, and I would agree with that statement as well. And I'm going to now rank the top 10 best video games of the year for the Dep Lewis Show Awards. So this is definitely the biggest category of the year. This is the one that all the games are trying to get and trying to win. This is what they're tuned in for here, and that's what we're going to get into now. So the best 10 games of the year for the Dep Lewis Show. Let's get into it. Number 10, Baldur's Gate 3. And I played this on PlayStation 5. So let's see. I bought this game in December after the Jeff Keighley Game Awards. I'm playing a high elf warlock. I'm around 30 hours in this game. And I don't know. I bought this game late in the year. So that's why I'm making it my de facto number 10. Since this game is over 100 hours to complete. So I think I've barely scratched the surface with this game. But, I have played a whole lot of it in a short amount of time, so that is pretty irregular for me. So I think I could have thought about ranking this game higher on this list, but I just feel so early into it that I feel like that would be incorrect to do so. But this is a very strong number 10. I think, this one game of the year for Jeff Keighley's awards. It's one game of the year for a lot of other award shows. But it's just something I got to later in the year. I was kind of hoping it would get released on Game Pass on that December 7th award show, but it got announced for Xbox, but just regular pricing. So I decided to go buy it on PlayStation since I already had some funds over there. But this game is very, very impressive. I already have Shadowheart as my, crush of the year, and she's up there in favorite video game characters of the year for me. But this game, I just think I bit off a bit more than I can chew with the game length of trying to finish it, not finish it, but play a whole lot of it at the end of the year. But I'm going to keep trying to make some progress with this game when I can. I was talking earlier about I have a list of games I want to complete in 2024 that are reasonably short, so reasonably achievable for me. So this game is really, really outside that realm. But I'm going to have on each console at least have one game that's like a pie-in-the-sky pipe dream for me to finish and make some progress at. So I'm going to kind of treat these games as something to make progress in, but not have a whole lot of commitment to it. So I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be my game on PlayStation 5. And just really enjoying this game. I'm way more than I thought I would. I love the characters and dialogue in this game. I think this is miles ahead of other games. Miles ahead of other games in this regard for the characters and dialogue. I think it's excellent. And I love the dice rolling elements and the combat in general. It's a little bit like Fire Emblem. You're moving your characters around, not like a grid, but you're moving them around. And you can only move them so far. You have different ranging attacks. And there's different environmental things you can trigger to, attack people as well. Like if they're standing on a bridge, you can shoot out the legs of the bridge and knock them down. And this game it looks very complicated, but as I've been playing it, some of the combat stuff is not as complicated as it looks. So it's just a lot of cool options, which is really, really neat. And then the options for designing your character was a game in itself. I'd probably spend a couple hours just doing that. And you can rework your character later in the game and change them around to whatever you'd like, I believe, visually. But I'm really enjoying my character. I had a whole lot of fun making her. She looks really, really awesome and just really cool. And the best thing I can say about this game is it reminds me of playing Elder Scrolls Morrowind for the first time. So just a whole big unknown world, walking around collecting things, meeting different people, talking to them. It really just feels like that experience in a modern setting where you're having these wonderful conversations with these characters and they have these unique personalities and moods and feelings and all these kind of crazy things. It's just really, really awesome. And the variability in this world, it seems really, really cool and neat and all the options. And I just would feel bad leaving this out on the list. And this is a game I think I could have ranked higher, but I just wanted to make sure I put it on this list and explain why it's on the list. And it's number 10. So no knock against this game in any way. I just think I barely scratched the surface with it, but I think it's definitely deserving of being, one of the best games I played this year. So Baldur's Gate 3, number 10, best video game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show Awards. All right, number 9. Number 9 goes to Sea of Stars, and I played this on Nintendo Switch, and I played some on Xbox as well. It's on Game Pass, so really great game. I think I'm really getting into these turn-based RPGs. I think I'm really getting into RPGs in general. I think it's been one of the trends I've seen this year of games that I really like. And this game has a lot of highlights. We have Garl earlier, who is in the best video game of the year category. Valerie and Zale are two really great protagonists in this game, and I like their abilities. I think I'll maybe like Valerie just a tad more, just for her Moonerang. And then Garl is the greatest best friend these two can have, or anyone can have, the Mr. Warrior cook. So this game just has a really good story, has a really great setup. The game looks amazing. The characters are cool. The music is great. We've already, nominated this game in that category. And this is something, it's a very long game, so I think this is kind of on the back burner for things for me to complete. But in the time that I played this game, it really made a big mark on me, and I really enjoyed it. And, loving the soundtrack, I think definitely boosted up there too. The characters are especially cool, even the Elder Mist. The way you travel between the worlds is really, really cool and seems unique to me. And this is a lengthy game, but I do have plans to play more after completing the current RPG I'm trying to tackle, and I'm actually kind of close to completing. So Sea of Stars, really excellent game. I highly recommend it. It's on Game Pass, it's on Xbox, it's on Switch. Play it on Steam. It's been on sale a good bit. It's not a full price game, and just a really, really wonderful thing. So Sea of Stars, great surprise, and number 9, best video game of the year. All right, number 8 goes to Pikmin 4 on the Nintendo Switch. And talk about a relaxing game. This game has a day and night cycle and a schedule where if your Pikmin are outside at nighttime, they all die. So you have that little bit of stress going on. But I found this game to be not stressful in any way. I found it to be very relaxing and actually a great podcast game. So that's been something that I've really, really enjoyed about this. I definitely have plans to play this still in 2024. I'd like to complete this game, and love the characters. Ochi and the Rescue Corps are all great characters. Ochi, really, really wonderful and memorable from this year. And I even like my created character in this game. And that's something I'm usually not a fan of. I talked about the Baldur's Gate 3 character customization. I think that's as best as you can get. That's top tier. But a lot of times I'm not really loving the options on these character creators. I think usually I'm making something that looks kind of goofy. But my character, Dep Lewis in Pikmin 4, is really, really cool. He's a funny looking guy with a mustache. And he has purple hair, and I think he's just really cool looking. The graphics and scenery in this game are impressive. I love the different worlds. I love how kind of straightforward and exploratory this can be, and I've been playing it that way, and I think it's been helping me. So this game also introduced the idea of Dandori to me, which is really cool. So I think it's kind of cool when you can use something outside of your video game life. So Dandori is talking about, it's basically some type of a concept of organizing your time or your day and just thinking about it. So it's something we all do unintentionally or intentionally all the time, but it's a cool thing to think of. It's cool to put a word on it and think about the idea of Dandori in the morning and think about what you have to do. So today was get the Dep Lewis Show done, rank all the best things, watch the Panthers, and that is really it for me today. Take my dog on some walks. It's kind of sunny, so that's really the Dandori for me today. Cook some dinner, so it should be a great day. But Pikmin 4, number 8, best game of the year. Number 7, best video game of the year goes to Dead Space Remake. And I played this on the Xbox Series X. I had a lot of fun with this earlier in the year. So I had to rack my brain all the way back to the earlier in the year to what I was playing. I did not finish this game, but I made really, really good progress on this. I'm definitely more than halfway, and this is not a very long game, so it could be something I finish, but survival horror was something I was really trying out earlier in the year. I was thinking it was untapped potential of a genre I like, and I just don't know if that's true. I think maybe it's a little bit too scary for me to enjoy playing, a little bit too stressful for my liking, but I had a whole lot of fun with this game. I think it's something I should be a little bit tougher and push through, but we will see. This was definitely recommended by the friend of the show, Volnus. He loves Dead Space, and I have some other friends as well. So I really don't have any complaints with it. Mine is just being a little bit scared by it. I'm just kind of a wuss, but I had a lot of fun with this game earlier in the year. I like the guidance the game gives you. I think that was a big plus for me, especially where you can press the button and it shows you the arrow of where to go. But this game is properly scary. You feel equipped with enough things to deal with it, but it's still scary. It's still stressful. It's still trying to, set up the environment to be pretty scary and hearkening. But Isaac Clarke is a great character. USG Ishimura is very memorable. It's an excellent landscape, excellent backdrop and scenery for this adventure. The zero gravity stuff is extra cool. That was added into this game, so I think that is a great addition to Dead Space. I think this is probably the ultimate way to play it. This game is graphically impressive, and I do have plans to finish this if I can become tougher. I wrote Not 100% guarantee I go back, but I did enjoy my time with it. So I think it's definitely worthy of a spot, especially earlier in the year when we didn't have this, massive flood of crazy great games, and this really served a great purpose in the year. And that is why Dead Space Remake is number 7 best video game of the year. All right, number 6 best video game of the year goes to Super Mario RPG on the Nintendo Switch. So the later trend in the year is I think I'm more of an RPG fan than I have originally surmised, and this has been one of the better surprises of the year. Has been Super Mario RPG, because this was one I didn't know I was going to purchase right away. This is a remake of the old SNES game, which I've never played, but this game came out to rave reviews, and I think it's not very long to complete. So I am more than halfway on this game as well, and I have plans to finish this. I was playing some right before this podcast and making progress. So this is my number 1 game on Switch that I'm trying to finish right now, and I'm loving it. I've already talked about loving the characters in this game, especially Mallow and Geno. They were up there on the best video game characters of the year, but I'm surprised you also get Bowser on your team in this game, and Peach. So really a dream come true with your party. And if one of your guys drops in battle, you can sub in, one of the other guys, so you can actually get to use all these people for the most part. But just really, really fun. I like the Frog Sage. The Smithy Gang is a good, antagonist group. The combat system is very fun. I love the timing-based elements. I think that's one of the best parts of this is, the little timing on the turn-based combat, and the different, it has some different variety in there. You can do physical attacks, you can do magic attacks, you have special abilities, you have your triple moves, and a lot of great variety, and it's really, really fun. And I like that it has an easy setting in the game too as well. That's been helping me make some progress, and I definitely plan to finish this in 2024. So Super Mario RPG, 6th best game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show. All right, we're moving right along. Number 5 goes to Marvel's Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5. So I had a lot of fun with this game this year, probably about 20 hours or so into it, switching between the Spideys. The city is way cooler in this game. There's a lot bigger area and more things to do. Navigating around the city this time is even better with the web wings, and just also the general upgrades to swinging as you go. So you just feel, it feels like a platformer around the city pretty much. And you can swing, you can fly, you can do tricks, you can shoot up into the sky with different abilities. Like, it's really, really fun to move around and try to land in different areas, and some of the best open world navigating in gaming. And then also some of the best side quest content around. So it's really, really cool how they roll those out. They kind of trickle them out to you and then give you some more later on as well. But those are pretty much fun to go do right away. And there's lots of fun things to go around the city and grab. So I'm around 20 hours into this game, and I plan to finish this. The first 2 Spider-Man games, Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales, I didn't really finish those right away either. But I finished Miles Morales last year, and I think that could have been a little bit not the best thing to do right before this game. Like, I'm not someone to finish a lot of games, so I finished Miles Morales right before, and then I bought Spider-Man 2 right after it, which was available. So I just don't know if that was the smartest thing for like a me play to do, but I did play 20 hours or so of this game. I do want to finish it, and I think I'm right at the breaking point in the story. So the story, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm pretty much, there was some pretty heavy foreshadowing in the section I was at about what's about to happen, and I think that's going to change the game pretty drastically, and pretty much be like the second half or the second third of the game, or the last third of the game will be in this manner. So I think it was a decent enough stopping point, but I'm going to get back into this game for sure. And this is something I don't like to listen to podcasts with, and I've been listening to a lot of Game of the Year podcasts at the end of the year, so I've been playing some other games. But let's see, there's some cool set piece things and cool scenes where you're not fighting crime. So there's some time like riding bikes, and sometimes you're flying a drone. Other times you're going to like a carnival. So there's some like cool story stuff, or stuff at your house and things like that. But Marvel Spider-Man 2, excellent game, excellent exclusive. And I think I I really love Miles Morales as a game. It's a shorter experience, and I love Miles as my favorite Spider-Man. But this game has a lot of different things going on in it, and really hard to complain about. Anything in this game. So Marvel Spider-Man 2, 5th best game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show. All right, now we're getting up there into the really, really top rankings. Number 4 is going to go to a game that was very early in the year, something I enjoyed for 30 hours or so is Fire Emblem Engage on the Nintendo Switch. The Great Divine Dragon. So that was my joke earlier in the year, as the Divine Dragon was telling everyone that she was the Divine Dragon. Right upon meeting them, even if she didn't know who they were, she goes, "Hey, I'm the Divine Dragon. What's up?" But the story and the characters in this game were, I would say, were not the highlight, but the main highlight was the gameplay and the combat and the strategy and the maps and the map variety. And this is some of the most fun combat around to me, and a great, a podcast game as well. So that is really well suited for me, since I love a great podcast game. So I definitely want to go back to this game at some point. I think this is another game where I bit off more than I can chew, and it's not going to be on the forefront of things I want to complete. I think this game is at least 70 hours or something like that. So I have a long way to go, and I wasn't doing a lot of the side quest. So I need to kind of go back and do some of the side quest missions, and then proceed forward to be what I need to do. So this will be another one that I'll have to tackle over time, and I'm just trying to be a little bit smarter about what to complete. So that's definitely something I'm going to consider going into next year. But I don't want to knock this game for that, because I don't complete a lot of games anyways. But I loved what I saw from this game. The combat is definitely the highlight, and Fire Emblem Engage, wonderful game. I think it's a little bit underrated. Came out in January of last year, and just really, really, really cool. I think it's they kind of took Fire Emblem a little bit back to its roots, I would say, and executed it very well. So number 4 goes to Fire Emblem Engage on the Nintendo Switch. All right, number 3 is a game that I actually completed this year, and it is Super Mario Bros. Wonder for the Nintendo Switch. So this is one of the only games I couldn't put down after purchasing this year. So a game that I just wanted to play through right away. So that is a pretty telltale sign for me of something I like. And I might have spent some more hours with other games, but I loved every minute with this one, and I was enjoying it. So I was a Daisy main in this game, so you can play as all different characters across the Mario universe. So I chose to play as Daisy, which was a personal highlight to me. It's really, really fun. I've never got to use her in a side-scrolling Mario before. I love using the different characters. I love the power-ups. Elephant Mario or Elephant Daisy is super cool. And then the badges were a great addition to this game as well. So, not only do you have the different characters you can choose from, you have the different power-ups, then you have the different badges that can affect you in different ways on each map. And then each map has a Wonder Seed that you can grab, and it changes the map up in some kind of crazy way. Every time you got one of those, it was excellent. It was a nice change. Talking about variety and never getting bored. This game really, really nailing that completely. It would be impossible, I think, to get bored playing this game, just because everything you do in it is so amazing. The music in this game is great. This game was nominated in that category for Best Music. Great balance with the level difficulty, so it shows you, how difficult the level is based on the stars. I think 1 to 5, and the 4 and 5 star levels are very difficult. So there is some upper tier stuff here to do, but the lower levels are actually pretty easy and simple to complete. So you can do some more collecting in those, but if you really want to grind your gears and pedal to the metal, you can really, really have some challenge with those harder levels. So I think it's really, really nailing it. Some of the only complaints I've heard have been the multiplayer is not so strong, but I'm not a multiplayer Mario player generally. I'm usually playing these by myself, so just not really something I'm checking in on. So really, really wonderful game. Wonderful, as I would say. Easily could have been, these next 3 games, the top 3 could have been interchangeable, but Mario's going to number 3 just based on the hours played. A little bit of a shorter experience than these first 2 that I played this year, but really love this game. I think this is I think it's a super strong top 3 games, I'm going to tell you. So number 3 is Super Mario Bros. Wonder for Nintendo Switch. All right, let's get into the top 2. And I got to say, this number 2 game could have been the number 1 game. And I don't know, I think it's going to be something I look back on, and I think I'm making the right choice. But I don't know, it could be a mistake, because this number 2 game I've been playing a whole lot of, especially in this last couple weeks of podcast break and the holiday break. I've played so much of this game and enjoyed it more than I would even think. And I think this is one of my favorite franchises of all time. This can be up there for one of my favorite games of all time, and it's Forza Motorsport on the Xbox Series X. So definitely is the best podcast game of the year. I think that could be a cool category to do next year. But podcast games in general are, my cup of tea. So I don't know. A podcast game is going to get a good ranking on my list because I love a good podcast game. And this was a great one. I've played over, I think this is tied for my most played game of the year, or it's right up there. It's over 60 hours or something like that. And, this game came out in November. So, I played a whole lot of this in the last couple months. And this may be my favorite Forza game. I love Forza 7 a whole lot. And I also loved Horizon 4 and 5 a whole lot too. And I would generally tell you I'm a Horizon fan more than the motorsport, but I think after playing this game, I'm more of a motorsport fan because I like I like just going to the menu, picking the track you're going to race, and just getting right into the race. I think it just lends itself great for being a podcast game and just going through and not having to think about things. The car variety is cool. I haven't really had too much trouble purchasing cars. You just have to kind of complete some races and you can buy the next car you want to. So I don't even think it's really about that for me. It's really just more of the fun of the racing, of the maps. The tracks are really cool, and the scenery around the maps is really cool too. Graphically, this is one of the best looking games on the Xbox Series X, and it's making me want to try Gran Turismo 7. So I know that's not what Forza wants me to do, but I'm going to try to catch Gran Turismo 7 on a sale on PlayStation and get into that because I would love to have another podcast game. So I've almost completed Forza Motorsport, all it has to offer in its main races. I think I'm doing 2. I have 2 series left, and I'm more than halfway through on each of those. And then they have seasonal events, or like I think they call them featured cups that you can play from time to time, or they have certain time limits on them. So I think that can be something I keep up with, but I'm pretty close. I'm probably only a couple hours away from finishing the whole game. But then I can see myself checking back into this with those featured events, or possibly some DLC would be cool for this game, and something I'd be willing to spend some money on. So I've been playing this through Game Pass, which is another huge perk of this game. I know Game Pass costs money, but that money's spread over time, and it's just nice when you're able to, a game gets released and you're able to download it. I mean, it's really, really nice, especially if you've if you have a year of Game Pass already in tow. So Forza Motorsport 2. Wonderful, amazing, excellent game. I think is my most played game in hour-wise. Like, it's right up there with the number one game. But and I'm not even done yet. But I love you, Forza Motorsport. You were a great game for this fourth quarter, and you're definitely deserving the number 2 game. And you possibly could have been number 1, but I have to give the nod to this next game just the slightest bit more. So let's get into it. The number 1 game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show for 2023 goes to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on Nintendo Switch. So, like I was just saying, I've probably played over 60 hours of this, close to 70. I have not completed it, but I have enjoyed all of my time with it. I've played. I'm not a big hour count person in a video game. I don't put tons of hours into them. I like to play different things, but generally I'm not putting tons of hours. But I put a ton of hours into this game, and I'm not even probably halfway through the main story. So I think that's why I feel safe putting it at number 1 over Forza Motorsport, because I am pretty much done with Forza Motorsport. I've almost completed everything. And Zelda is something that I want to try to complete some more of over the years, the course of the years, and possibly complete someday. And I think I've played almost every Zelda game. I've never completed one. It's kind of a monkey on my back a little bit, but I do love these games. I just, with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the open worldness is a little bit overwhelming. But I think Tears of the Kingdom has been doing a better job than Breath of the Wild of guiding me around. And I've completed the Wind Temple, with Mr. Tulin, my favorite character of the year. And I just have arrived to the Fire Temple, so I'm planning on tackling that next. Because I spent most of my time, I played 70 hours, but I played most of my time just kind of journeying around, collecting items, cooking things, finding cool outfits and armor. I've kind of been, as I call it, Morrowinding around more than pushing the story. I've just had a whole lot of fun doing that. So I think that's just a testament to how great of a game this is. And, how I probably haven't even completed half of it, or half of what I'd like to complete of it. And I love it so much, and just want to keep playing more of it. And I really just do think it's the best game of the year overall. Like, I think a lot of other games can be argued, but I think overall, I think this is a really, really hard choice to argue with. You have the regular land, you have the sky areas, and you have the depths in this game. So you have 3 different areas to tackle. There's characters and things to do all over the map. The clothes and armor are really, really cool and a highlight to me. The time I was playing this game, this game came out on a Friday, and then that Saturday I was traveling to Texas to go see friend of the show Pab, and King Tut out there was traveling too. And we were going out to see the Braves play the Rangers, so it just came out at a really memorable time for the year for me and really fun. So I think that adds to a lot of enjoyment. I was playing then in the hotel on the way to Texas when I took it in a couple of days to get to Texas, playing in the hotel. We even played some, staying at Pab's house. We put it in his dock and put it on the TV. We were having some drinks at night and playing some Zelda, or waking up in the morning, having coffee and playing some Zelda. Like it was just perfect for that and just really fun and memorable. A lot of my friends bought this game, and friends of the show that, we're going to go over their rankings in the next section, and friends you've heard about over the course of the year. So kind of a great communal game, and everyone talking about it. Merc, and friend of the show Merc, and friend of the show Pab are the two that have finished it. And then Somfy's played a whole lot of it, and then, I have as well. And then Volness has played some as well too, but Volness hasn't been playing as many video games this year because he's been a busy guy just doing all sorts of fun shit. Oh, and I'm cursing now, dang. But yeah, this is the game of the year. So really, really cool that a lot of friends playing this game. Everyone going crazy over it across the world, including me. And I think very, very deserving of the game of the year. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The music, tooling, different abilities. I don't even think going back to the old map is bad. I think it's fun seeing the changes and going to Kakariko Village and Hateno Village and all those different areas. I think it was nice for me to have some familiarity too in this open world, since I'm a little bit adverse to that sometimes. So I think it's just a really great combination of things. Love the music from this game. And, one of the best games on Switch and one of the best games of all time, I would say. And it would be an honor and a pleasure for me to complete this one day. So I think that's going to be a long-term goal for me. I think it's kind of going to be my pipe dream game on the Switch. And, we could see a whole flip. I've never completed a Zelda game. I've played every one of them. I need to put my nose to the grindstone and get one of these completed. And, we'll see about in 2024 what I'll be doing. But, other than that, the way I've been looking at this list, even if I haven't completed them, I want to rank the experiences of these games over the year. So, that can be one factor. If I completed it, that can be a factor to move it on this list. The hours played can be a factor, but ultimately it's just the enjoyment of it and the time spent with it and the memories of it. And I think I've done a good job on this list of ranking the games from this year in that order, and hopefully explaining why. So, just really, really fun doing this. And let's go over the list of the best games of the year one more time from the bottom up. So number 10 is Baldur's Gate 3. Number 9, Sea of Stars. Number 8, Pikmin 4. Number 7, Dead Space Remake. Number 6, Super Mario RPG. Number 5, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Number 4, Fire Emblem Engage. Number 3, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Number 2, Forza Motorsport, love you game. And number 1, best game of the year for 2023 for the Dep Lewis Show Awards, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Congratulations to you, Zelda. Congratulations to you, Link, and Tulin, and all the other friends in King Rauru involved as well. So, wonderful, memorable characters, great games, wonderful games, a great year of video games, and I don't know, just a wonderful game, wonderful year of games, and a wonderful year of doing this podcast. So just the last thing I want to tell you about. So I ranked all those games, other games I played over the course of the year that I just haven't put a lot of time into and didn't quite make the list. I don't think any of these games are bad. I really have enjoyed every game that I've purchased. So I'm just going to read you the other games I've purchased and enjoyed, but just didn't quite make the list. And that is Risk of Rain Returns, Humanity, Hi-Fi Rush, Sonic Origins Plus, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Hogwarts Legacy, Street Fighter 6, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. I really did enjoy my time with that game. I think I'm just too much of a noob. MLB The Show 23 is a wonderful game every year. Starfield, Diablo 4 was surprising. I put a good bit of hours into that and enjoyed it. And that was it. Zelda and Forza were my top two most played, followed by Baldur's Gate 3 and Fire Emblem. So Baldur's Gate 3 has some really great potential to be the best game going into next year possibly. And then, other games I missed. This was a wonderful year of video games. So, things that didn't quite make the list, or things that I played, and then things that, I have my list of games that I most want to play. So those are Metroid Prime Remastered, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, Octopath Traveler 2, Dave the Diver, and Dredge. But then other games I was clocking throughout the year that I had interest in but I didn't purchase were Theater Rhythm, Final Bar Line. I actually played that demo. Like a Dragon Ishin. I actually played maybe an hour of that because it was on Game Pass. Have a Nice Death, Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, We Love Katamari Reroll plus Royal Reverie, Final Fantasy 16, I actually played that demo, Story of Seasons and Wonderful Life, Samba de Amigo, Mortal Kombat 1. I would have purchased it if I was more into fighting games these days because I really didn't play a lot of Street Fighter 6, which was surprising to me. Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster, WarioWare Move It, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and Like a Dragon Gaiden, A Man Who Erased His Name. That's the one I actually played a little bit of. I didn't play Ishin. So those are other games, I considered. I can't play everything over the course of the year, but as you can see, I have a lot of interest in video games. I would play a little bit of all these games or all of them if I could. If I could purchase them all, I would. So great year for video games, all I want to say. So that's going to wrap up the Dep Lewis Show Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2023 section. So it's going to wrap up the midsection of the show, and we actually have one more section to go. We're going to do our miscellaneous section, and today it's going to be friends. It's going to include rankings from friends of the show, and also with my year-end thoughts on the worldwide world of sports. So it's going to be a really fun third section of the show today. We have a lot of crazy rankings from friends of the show, and we're going to go down those lists and talk about them, and then we're going to talk a little bit about sports, and then get you out of here for the end of the year. So, thank you for listening to these midsection of these awards. Congratulations to all the winners, and we'll be back next year with another Dep Lewis Show Awards. But let's take a quick break, and then come back for the final section of this show in just a few. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 60. This is the third section of the show today, and this is going to include rankings from friends of the show. So it's going to be very fun, and then we're going to end this year and end this podcast with my thoughts on the worldwide world of sports and all the official teams of the Dep Lewis Show. So let's first get into these friends of the show rankings. It's going to be very fun. We have some guest lists from friends of the show: Pab, Merck, and Samfi. And Samfi, best guest of the year on the Dep Lewis Show, de facto, but also in everyone's hearts and my heart as well. What a great guest. And thank you to him for doing that. And hopefully we'll have some more guests in the future, including Samfi again. And then major thanks to these friends of the show for sending their list in, and then all other friends of the show as well. Volness out there for creating the great Dep Lewis Show music, and King Tut out there who we talk about as well, and it gets ranked on some of these lists too. But for today and for this year, we have friends of the show rankings for Pab, Merck, and Samfi. So we're going to get into those. I'm just going to read. They all have created their own categories. I just said, hey, if you guys would like to rank some stuff for the end of the year, please submit them to me. It doesn't have to be video game related, and they really went above and beyond and came through with some hilarious content and some just good content as well, or good information you might want to know. So you're going to get some more perspective outside of me, and that is really, really cool. And hopefully this tradition will continue over the years for the Dep Lewis Show Awards, because this is going to be really fun to present to you. So we're going to start with the friend of the show, Pab, and these are his awards for 2023. So let's see. Pab's got how many categories? These people did not slouch with their categories. Pab's got 6 categories. So we're just going to kind of read through them. Category 1 for Pab is the best new book to read. So number 10 was Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson. So we talked about that earlier. It's one of the quarterly secret books from this year. Number 9 is The Captain by Will White. So his foray into a new series there. And like I said earlier, Pab is my book guru. So I kind of just listen to whatever he says to read, and he has turned me on to a whole bunch of my favorite series and authors ever. So number 8, In the Shadow of Lightning by Brian McClellan. Number 7, Code Red by Vince Flynn. I know Pab loves that author. Number 6, Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. Number 5, Heir of Novron by Michael Sullivan. Number 4, Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erickson. Number 3, Lightbringer by Pierce Brown. Number 2, a great book on my list as well, Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And number 1, on Best New Book to Read by Pab for 2023 is Waybound by Will White. So that was the second best book of the year on my list, only because The Lost Metal was a hangover from the year prior that I finished. But wonderful book, Waybound by Will White. Pab has listened. He's read Cradle multiple times. He's listened to him multiple times. He's got friend of the show, Sanfi, reading them. He's got members of his family reading it. He's a great advocate for your books out there, Mr. Will White. So if you want to send some advertising dollars, send them to me and Pab over here, and probably more to Pab. All right, so that was Pab's category 1. Pab's category 2 is best new beer I've tried. So Pab likes to have some different beers. I think he just hit his 1,000th beer. I think it was around Christmas on Untappd. So Untappd is a cool app to use for your beer tracking. And Pab was a little bit late in the game on getting the app, but he has tried a bunch of different beers from places and made a point to try different ones. So let's go over his 10 best new beers he's tried. So number 10 is called the Perny Haze by Wicked Weed. Number 9, Peach on Earth by Burlington Beer Company. Number 8, Leona Tropical by Manhattan Project Beer Company. Number 7, Brave Tart, excellent name, by Ana Cortez Brewery. It might have been Ana Cortez, but not sure. Number 6, Imaginary Number, Celestial Beer Works. Number 5, Electric Jellyfish by Pint House Brewing. Number 4, Funka Delicious by Hop and Sting Brewery. Number 3, Tropical Fresh Deschutes. I drank some of those when I was out in Texas at Pab's house, and they were excellent. Deschutes IPA is amazing too. Bride of Dankenstein, excellent name, Mason Ale Works. And then Pab's best new beer he's tried for 2023 was Gemini by Celestial Beer Works. So shout out to you, Mr. Gemini Beer. All right, category 3 for Pab for 2023 is best fantasy football manager. So, Pab keeps the rankings. He has a whole scoring method for, our fantasy football league. I think this is what this is tied to exactly, but it could just be his favorite ones from this year. I'm not sure. Pab's a huge troll. If you look under any bridge, you'll probably find Pab or some semblance of him. So you're going to see my name on this list. And I'm just going to never won a fantasy football championship. Coming second a few times. I just got knocked out of the I just got knocked out last week, so I'm playing for a whole lot of nothing this week. I've been playing for a whole lot of nothing for 2 weeks, so it's been really tough out here on me in the fantasy world. But, according to Pab, his best fantasy football managers, number 1 is the Commissioner, which is him, a.k.a. Pab, friend of the show, number 1. Number 2 is Sanfi, friend of the show, you know him. Number 3, Brian. Number 4, the Dep Lewis Show, myself. Number 4, everyone knows. Number 4, you should move me up 4 spots on this list. Number 5 is Blake. Number 6 is friend of the show, King Tut. Number 7 is friend of the show, Merc. Poor Merc way down there. Number 8 is Dom. And number 9 is Ian, who Ian doesn't always field a full team. So you sometimes can look at Ian for a free win. But sometimes Ian's team will go off like no other. Just, he'll just field a lineup and they'll go insane. So Ian is really the outlier of the team. But, adds a little bit of mix in there. All right, so category 4 for Pab for best. Pab wanted to rank his best Legend of Zelda games of all time. So Pab has definitely played most of these games. He's a huge Zelda fan, and his opinion counts here on the Legend of Zelda games, I gotta say. So number 10, he has Skyward Sword. Number 9, he has Majora's Mask. Number 8, he has Twilight Princess. Number 7, which I pegged was be his most controversial across the world, is A Link to the Past. And number 7, I think a lot of people have that as number 1 or one of the greatest games of all time. But hey, this is Pab's opinion. 6, The Legend of Zelda Original. 5, Ocarina of Time. 4, Breath of the Wild. 3, Wind Waker. 2, Tears of the Kingdom. And 1, Link's Awakening. So Pab showing his favoritism there to Link's Awakening, which I think there's probably a pretty good subset of Zelda fans that would say Link's Awakening, is worthy of a remake on the Switch. It's a shorter game. It's a top-down approach, and it has cool different. A lot of people that play Link's Awakening know like the exact route to go of how to complete the game. So I think it has that cool, memorable aspect to it too. So I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty great list from Pab. I love the video game ranking here. It's always extra fun to me, and I like that he had some good mix-ups on his list there. I just think I need to play I need to complete a Zelda game. Would be a great goal for me. I don't need to make any sweeping proclamation. I need to complete a Zelda game. Would be a great thing to do in my life. All right, back to Pab, back to Friends of the Show rankings. Pab, category 5, best book in the Cradle series by Will White. So I told you Pab's my book guru, and he ranked all 12 books in the Cradle series. So this is something I've done before too. And him and I, we have pretty general agreement with our lists. I haven't thought about mine in a minute, but his is going to be 12 is Skysworn 11 is Cradle, 10 is Soulsmith, 9 is Bloodline, 8 is Winter Steel, 7 is Uncrowned, 6 is Black Flame, 5 is Underlord, 4 is Waybound, and that was a book from 2023. 3 is Ghostwater, which is an amazing book, definitely one of the best ones. 2 is Reaper, and 1 is Dread God. Can't argue with either one of those. I think Pab has the correct order, and I think he does. And I don't like to give Pab credit, but I think he does. And yeah, I can give him book credit. That's not bad because he knows his book stuff. It's just his fantasy football managers and his sports takes that I don't approve of. I don't approve those messages, Mr. Pab. All right, but that was his category 5. Best book in the Cradle series by Will White for Pab is Dread God. That's a great choice. So please go read Cradle. He's got Somfy reading it right now, or he might be listening or reading, but it's all the same. Getting the great content in your brain. All right, the final category for Pab for this year, category 6, is the best Christmas movie. So each one of these guys ranked their best Christmas movies, and I think that was really fun. I was asking them for these rankings around Christmas time, so, the holiday's over, but you can watch these next year, and, Christmas movies are pretty everlasting. So for Pab, number 5 is Home Alone. Number 4 is The Grinch. Number 3 is Four Christmases. Number 2, It's a Wonderful Life. And number 1 is Elf. And I think Elf might be on mine as well as number 1. So, just thank you for Pab for all his categories, for being a great friend of the show. And, his 6 categories, best new book to read, best new beer I've tried, best fantasy football manager, best Legend of Zelda game of all time, best book in the Cradle series, and best Christmas movie. So thank you, Pab, for your rankings. Hope to get your rankings again for next year. All right, so moving on to next friend of the show. It's a gentleman named Merc, and this is Merc's Awards for 2023. So let's go over. Merc's got 6 different categories as well, and ending with best Christmas movie. So Merc wanted to rank, let's see here. Merc wanted to rank best video game of all time. So he's got a list right here. It's a wonderful list. Number 5, well, he has an honorable mention. It's just Mario Party. So I don't know which one he was talking about. It's probably the N64 one. But that was his honorable mention. So you're going to see a pretty big trend here in Merc's games. Number 5 is Super Smash Bros. Melee. Number 4 is Super Mario Strikers from the GameCube, which came out in 2005. Number 3 is Mario Kart 64. Number 2 is Halo 3. Number 1 is Halo 2. So Merc either wants to play a first-person shooter or he wants to play a party game on Nintendo. So he wants to race, play soccer, or fight, or have a party on Nintendo, or he wants to be Master Chief and BXR some people. So you really can't argue with him. I mean, every one of those games is extremely classic, and Merc just has some very specific taste there on his best game of all time list. So wonderful top 5 best games of all time from Merc. All right, so Merc likes to call himself the Booze King. So if you ever hear Merc, I'd say 90% of the time, if Merc calls himself the Blank King, he's probably not the king of that. So he likes to call himself the Booze King. He calls himself the Drift King sometimes, like he's drifting. And none of these things are true. But he has a list here, the best beer. So he's giving you his information. We saw Pab's list above with his great craft brews and excellent choices and crazy variety and cool names. And then we're going to have Merc's best beer list right here. So Merc's best beer coming in at number 5 is Mick Ultra. Number 4, Miller Lite, which he couldn't even get at his wedding. Number 3, Modelo, which you can make a Bloody Mary out of those, which is actually pretty good. Number 2, a Corona Light. And number 1, a Corona Premier. So as you can see from Merc, he's keeping it simple here. He wants a Corona and he wants some Halo. That's all he really needs. All right, so the next category for Merc is best chips. And I was giving him some crap for this, and so were the other guys, because we were saying some of these things weren't chips. But hey, this is Merc's list. He can do exactly whatever he wants. And that's why I'm going to read his list to you. 1, 2. So number 5 of best chips are Cheez-Its. So that was one I think was questionable, but he's just kind of giving you his best snacks here that crunch in his mouth. Number 4, Flavor Blasted Goldfish. Number 3, Lay's Sweet Southern Heat Barbecue Chips. Those are excellent. Number 2, Cape Cod Sweet and Spicy Jalapeno Chips. And number 1, Frito Twist. So Merc with the Frito Twist is a pretty, I'm trying to say exclusive, but that's a pretty, that's a dark horse number 1 right there. Frito's Twist is not one you generally think of, is what I mean. You might think of like a Dorito would go there, or just a regular Lay's or a barbecue or something, but Merc's like throwing the Frito Twist in there, so you don't know what to expect from Merc. All right, and the next category Merc has As I gotta say, one of the worst categories of the year, one of the worst opinions of the year, one of the worst takes of the year, and I'm glad that he brought it up so I could at least trash his take, because I think it's one of the worst things I've heard all year. And his category 4 is the worst sport, and he only has one sport in that ranking, and it's baseball. So Merck, he just really doesn't know anything when it comes to sports. He wouldn't know a good sport if it hit him in the head. He wouldn't know a good sport if a group chat he was in talked about all the 162 games of the regular season and the entire postseason and the entire offseason, constantly. So you think with the amount of baseball knowledge he hears on a day-to-day basis, he would love it, more than anything. But he's holding out. He hates baseball, worst sport according to Merck, and I would definitely say that's the worst take of the year from any list I've heard. So that's going to be my take on it, Merck. All right, category 5, best mid-range jumper. So that's talking about a basketball jump shot. Number 5 is Dirk Nowitzki. Number 4, Tim Duncan. No, number 4, Dirk Nowitzki. Number 3, Tim Duncan. Number 2, Kevin Garnett. So those are all Hall of Fame NBA players. And then number 1 is King Tut, friend of the show, best mid-range jumper. I would say he's the street legend. He's the unsung hero. Maybe he's not in the Hall of Fame, but everyone in the world, if you ask who has the best mid-range, they're going to tell you it's King Tut. They're going to say you don't want to see him, on the block. You don't want to see him at the top of the key. You don't want to see him anywhere around there. That he might even hit it off the backboard, but he's going to sink that mid-range, and enough to impress Merck on his list and be number 1 of the year. So congratulations to King Tut, friend of the show, best mid-range jumper of all time. So not just the year, of all time. So category 6 for Merck is the best Christmas movie. So number 4 is Just Friends. Number 3 is Office Christmas Party. Number 2 is Why Him. And number 1 is Elf. So far, Pat, Merck, and I are in agreement on best Christmas movie. So something we can, with all of our disagreements, we can come together around Christmas and watch Elf and bring ourselves back together. So thank you to Merck for all of his wonderful categories for 2023. Really, really great stuff there. And just shout out to Merck. Hopefully we can get some more rankings from Merck next year. We'll see if his best game of all time changes. I don't think it will. So I can maybe just hit some copy and paste. Probably on a few of these from Merck, actually. Maybe we can get worst sport to change. That'd be nice. Those are Merck's categories for the year. All right. And the final friend of the show awards for 2023 is the best guest of the year for the Dep Lewis Show, and that is San Fee, the fan favorite for everyone's favorite guest of the year, everyone's favorite feature on the Dep Lewis Show. And San Fee's coming through with some categories. So let's see. He's got San Fee. He went off with this category, so you're going to get a lot of information. He's got 8 categories for you, and ending with the best Christmas movie. And it's going to be interesting to see what his number 1 will be. Possibly, could we all be in agreement? I mean, that would be a holiday miracle. All right. So San Fee's awards. The best series I watched on Netflix. So number 10. Oh, he has an honorable mention. Wednesday. And then number 10, Arrested Development. Number 9, Stranger Things. Number 8, New Girl. Number 7, Seinfeld. And I was watching some Seinfeld reruns over the holiday and loving it. 6, Orange is the New Black. 5, Community. 4, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. 3, The Witcher. There's some video game adjacent content. 2, The Good Place. And number 1, the inarguable, wonderful series, The Office. So best series I watched on Netflix by San Fee for 2023. All right, best anime series. Category 2 for San Fee. Honorable mention is Arcane. So I believe that is in the League of Legends world, which Pab, Merck, and San Fee are on the League of Legends squad. And they're always arguing and sometimes giving each other props and mostly arguing about their performances. But, endlessly strategizing on how to be the best League of Legends Rift players in the world. And I think they're getting up there. But so Arcane is honorable mention for best anime series for San Fee. Number 10 is Avatar: Legend of Korra. Number 9, Gundam. Number 8, Inuyasha. Number 7, Pokemon, which I've been watching on their Twitch channel. They run old episodes, and I've really been enjoying that this year. 6, One Piece. 5, Dragon Ball, so classic. 4, Avatar: The Last Airbender. 3, Yu Yu Hakusho, which is one of my favorites of all time, and I think that live action series just came out, or a movie or something, but Yu Yu Hakusho is amazing. 2, Gundam Wing, and then best anime series of all time for San Fee is Dragon Ball Z. And hard to argue with that for the amount of episodes and how wonderful they all are. So pretty amazing show right there. Great opinions by San Fee. All right, so category 3 for San Fee. He's gonna go toe to toe with Merck in this and have best chips. So Sanfi has a lot of similar style of chips here. And so if you're going to throw a party, you can generally know what to bring. So number 10, nacho cheese Doritos, which, I think Doritos are pretty synonymous with Sanfi. He had a birthday party once when he was little, and he had multiple bowls of Doritos and the different flavors out there. And, me just thinking that was the coolest thing ever, it still sticks in my mind these days that I'm not surprised to see Doritos on his list here. Number 9, cheddar and sour cream Ruffles. Number 8, Cheetos. Number 7, sour cream and onion Lay's. Number 6, cheddar jalapeno Lay's. I gotta say, Sanfi has a better grasp of what chips are than Merck. Number 5, Cool Ranch Doritos. There we go, some more Dorito content. 4, French Onion Sun Chips. 3, Miss Vicky's Spicy Dill. 2, Jimmy John's Jalapeno Chips. And 1, number 1 best chip in the world for Sanfi are the Lay's Kettle Cooked Jalapeno Chips. So it looks like Merck and Sanfi could eat some jalapeno chips together and be happy, but Sanfi's going to bring more chips to the party, and Merck's going to bring some goldfish and some Cheez-Its possibly, and try to call them chips. But hey, we're going to all be snacking and munching. All right, so I told you these guys love some League of Legends, Wild Rift, and so category 4 for Sanfi is the best Wild Rift supports. So 1A is Yuumi, and I'm probably going to pronounce some of these people wrong since I am not a Rifter. 1B is Nautilus. Number 3 is Soraka. I want to say Soroka like Mike Soroka. Number 4 is Nami. Oh man, I'm reading them. I usually read them from the back up, but whatever, I'm already going. So number 4, Nami. Number 5, Karma. Number 6, Morgana. Number 7, Seraphine. Number 8, Lux. Number 9, Malphite. And number 10 is Blitzcrank. So number 1 was Yuumi. 1A was Yuumi. 1B was Nautilus. And then he has a dishonorably unmentioned, goes to Ashe. So I feel bad even saying Ashe's name since she's so dishonorably unmentioned. But poor Ashe. Nobody play Ashe. She's not a good support. So play Yuumi or Nautilus. All right, category 5. This is a wonderful category to make up for Merck's very disrespectful, very childlike, very egregious, very bamboozling category, worst sport, and he's had baseball in there. But Sanfi wanted to rank for category 5 most important positions in baseball. So Sanfi is giving you some baseball knowledge out here. If you're gonna, possibly someone listening to the show, runs a team or is gonna run a team one day, and this will be some good guidelines for you. So number 10, second baseman, so Ozzy Albies down there. Number 9, designated hitter, Marcell Ozuna. Number 8, left field, that's Mr. Kelenic, a new guy. Number 7, shortstop, that's Mr. Orlando Arcia. Number 6, third base, Mr. Austin Riley. Number 5, right field, the best player in the universe, Ronald Acuna Jr. Number 4, catcher, Sean Murphy. And I'm just adding the Braves players in here for context for myself. Number 3, first baseman, Matt Olson. Number 2, center field, Money Mike Harris. And number 1, pitcher, Mr. KK Strider. So need to have some pitchers, center fielder, first baseman. And Sanfi's got some rock solid opinions here. And we're going to talk about the worldwide world of sports at the end of these rankings. So we're going to get into that in just a bit. But those are Sanfi's most important positions in baseball, and pitcher is the winner there. So we just saw a guy who was a hitter and pitcher get paid $700 million. And we saw another guy who's never pitched in the Major League Baseball just make $300 million. So I think the people always say follow the money, and if follow the money right to the pitcher right there. So start throwing some balls and strikes out there, young people. All right. So Sanfi, category 6, best video game franchise. Starting at number 10 is Crash Bandicoot. Number 9, MLB The Show. That definitely reminds me of Sanfi. Number 8, Banjo-Kazooie. That's one of my favorite games of all time. Number 7, Mario Party. Looks like you can go play with Merc and Pab. And there might be an infamous story where there was a random power outage during a Mario Party. So that's a really big lore in the Dep Lewis Show universe of that epic day. But something to talk about more and more in the future. Number 6, Destiny. Number 5, Halo. Number 4, so that's a pretty good nod to Destiny there. I know he didn't put it above Halo, which would be hard to do, but he has it right after it. So I think it really does show like more teenage, more 20s, like Halo versus Destiny. He probably played pretty similar amounts of both, and I think it's pretty cool ranking. And then number 4, Call of Duty, which I'm probably exactly in line with Sanfi here of hours played on those. So probably played Call of Duty just a nod more than both of those. Possibly. It's close though. 3, Mario. 2, StarCraft. And number 1, Civilization. So I definitely think of Civilization with Somfy and Volnus and StarCraft as well. There's no telling how many hours they put into those as younger people, so I don't think those will be changing on Somfy's list for a long time, it doesn't look like. But great list by Somfy. Let's keep on moving. Category 7 for Somfy is Best Bourbons and Whiskeys. So we got some beer earlier from Pab and Merck, and now we're going to get some nice bourbons and whiskeys from Somfy. So number 10 is Willet. Number 9, Buffalo Trace. Number 8, Glen. I might, mispronounce some of these. Glen Morangi. Number 7, Eagle Rare. Number 6, Jefferson's. Number 5, Blanton's. Number 5, Oban. Number 3, Colonel E.H. Taylor. Number 2, Lagavulin. I'm glad I've heard them talk about that because I've been wondering how to say that. Lagavulin, probably one of the cooler words of the year on this podcast. And then number 1, Glenlivet for Best Bourbons and Whiskey. So, go get boozed up, but, drink responsibly out there, loyal listeners. And then Somfy's final category of the year, Best Christmas Movie. Let's see if we're all going to be in agreement. Number 10, he has an honorable mention, Mickey's Christmas Carol. Number 10 is The Grinch, OG. Number 9 is Muppet Christmas Carol. Number 8 is Grinch, Benedict Cumberbatch version. Number 7 is White Christmas. Number 6, Home Alone 2. Number 5, A Christmas Story. Number 4, Grinch, Jim Carrey. Number 3, Scrooged. Number 2, Home Alone. And number 1, the one thing we can all agree upon this year, and the best Christmas movie is Elf. Shout out to Will Ferrell for winning a Dep Lewis Show Award for 2023. So really great Christmas movies. And those are the end of Somfy's rankings. And just thank you to Somfy for all those rankings. I'll be looking forward to getting some more rankings next year. And just thank you to all the friends of the show for their list. And I look forward to continuing this tradition in the future. I love all the different categories everyone came up with. And it was really fun to get those and even more fun reading them on this show. So, some other opinions out there, other categories besides video game stuff. So it's really, really cool. And hopefully you enjoyed those rankings as well. So thank you to all the friends of the show and just everybody. So the last thing I want to touch on in this final section of the show, we got some friends lists, and now I just want to talk about the worldwide world of sports to end the year. So this show, the Dep Lewis Show is mainly about video games. We have 3 sections every week. The first section is video games I'm playing. The second section is video games I'm seeing. And the third section is just anything outside the video game world. So I think every podcast I've done, the third section has had some sports talk in it. So I just want to end my year with some sports talk here to finish up this show. So the official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Carolina Panthers, over the course of the year, they hired Frank Reich and staff. They drafted Bryce Young with their first pick. They lost a lot of games this year. They fired Frank Reich. We got the Brian Burns contract out in the air. I don't know if he's going to get paid or get franchised next year. And for next year, we're looking for a new coach in 2024. And we have no first-round pick. So what are they going to do is the main question. So, a pretty disappointing year for the Panthers. I got to go to some of the games, which that was a pretty big highlight. Brian Burns, I still want him to get paid. I don't know if he's going to get paid, but we will see. Bryce Young has shown some flashes of being the guy. And most recently, last week against Green Bay, he really showed some flashes. And excited to watch them today against the Jaguars in Jacksonville. They're playing without Trevor Lawrence, but just excited to see some more progress and hopefully some more momentum on the offensive side of the ball. This year brought along the DJ Moore trade and a lot of hope, getting that first round pick and a lot of hope going into the season with some new acquisitions. But next year, I think they got to make some harsh decisions. They got to stick with Bryce. They got to find a coach and, hopefully give that coach some time to cook. And I think they should pay Brian Burns. Defense has been doing great. And I don't know. Excited to see for next year. A couple games left this year. I'm probably going to go to the Tampa Bay game in Charlotte just to go check out the Panthers to finish out the year. But hopefully next year will be a little bit stronger, get some more wins on the board, and hopefully just be more in the a little bit more in the mix, especially in the NFC South. They could be making some plays pretty easy. It's a pretty weak division right now, and I want them to go get it. But shout out to the Panthers for giving me a lot of entertainment. Shout out to Brian Burns being my favorite Panther. And Derek Brown, I think, is slowly becoming my second favorite Panther. And I'm really starting to like Bryce. I'm seeing some good stuff there. And glad to see J.C. Horn back. And those are probably pretty much my Carolina Panthers highlights from the year. So just want to say some nice things there at the end. All right, so let's talk about the Hawks and the Hornets. So my two favorite basketball teams. The Hawks are really my main team. And I just live close to the Hornets now, so I'm able to go see some games. So I'm a little bit more of a fan of the Hornets now too. For the Hornets, they're not doing so great this year, but it seems like Brandon Miller was a great pick. But the Hornets still have some way to go. Need LaMelo to stay healthy and just keep growing. And Brandon Miller seems like a great pick. I don't think they would redo that, and that's a nice surprise. And then for the Hawks, I think they're in a pretty bad way right now. I don't know if the trade DeJounte thing is working. A lot of rumors of a trade possibly shipping DeJounte out of town. But Jalen Johnson has been a pretty good highlight for the Hawks this year. He's been hurt some, but when he's been on the court, he's been doing great. I think he just had a season high 15 rebounds last night, so he's definitely a difference maker on the court, and they need him. So the Hawks have been a little bit underwhelming, which is sad, but I'm a little bit used to that as a Hawks fan. And I'm just hoping that they can close the second half of the season out well, but I don't know how it's going to go, and I don't know what kind of moves they're going to make. Are they going to trade Clint Capella? Is DeAndre Hunter possibly going to be on the move? Maybe Bogey? I don't know. I think there's probably going to be some moves made, so I'll at least be on the watch for that. So shout out to the basketball. Shout out to the Hornets for me getting to see them in person. I actually got to see them play the Hawks in Charlotte this year, so that was really, really cool. And I think Trae Young's still my favorite player on the planet, so shout out to Trae Young. All right, so my favorite team in the universe, the official team of the Dep Lewis Show, official sport of the Dep Lewis Show, Major League Baseball, and the official team of the show is the Atlanta Braves. So Atlanta Braves, favorite team on the planet, in the universe, in the galaxy, everywhere you could know. And, they had a great season this year, but they lost to the Phillies in the playoffs. Shout out to the Texas Rangers for winning the World Series. It was pretty cool that I got to go to Texas and see some games in Arlington, and they're my, AL team right now for sure, since a friend of the show, Pab, lives there, and, I have a Rangers hat, so, I'm a little bit of a pseudo fan for the Rangers, so that was a good, admission or a good concession to the Braves not, going farther in the playoffs and getting outed by the Phillies, but I did get to see some games in person this year. I saw some in Texas, I saw some in Atlanta, and I saw a playoff game in Atlanta with Sanfi, and that was the best sporting event I've been to. That was where the Braves came back in the second half of the game with some home runs and won the game. And it was a packed stadium, and the fans around us were cool, and it was just so epic and so much fun, and a definite highlight from my year for 2023. And then I wrote the Braves have made no giant splash moves in the offseason, but they've made some improvements. And they just, yesterday made a trade for Chris Sale, so that was a pretty big splash move. They got Vaughn Grissom out of town for Chris Sale, so Vaughn Grissom was a little bit positionless on the Braves, or kind of blocked by Ozzie Albies and Austin Riley. They were talking about him playing some left field, but he doesn't have too great of an arm and doesn't have much experience out there. He didn't really work too well as shortstop, so it was kind of known he was going to get moved over the offseason most likely. But we just didn't know where and didn't know who. I don't think we've heard Chris Sale in any rumors, but I think I've gone a little bit on the side of liking the Chris Sale trade. We basically just swapped Vaughn for Chris Sale. We're basically getting Chris Sale for free this year. We're going to owe him $10 million, or I think it's either $15 million in 10 years or $10 million in 15 years, but that money's deferred until then. It's not really a factor. And then the Braves have the option to pick up his option for next year, which would be around $25 million, I think. So it really is like kind of a see how it goes year, and basically for free, minus giving up Vaughn Grissom, who you don't really have a position for, but could potentially be a really good starter in Major League. But I don't know, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Looking forward to seeing what Chris Sale can do. I think the rotation right now is looking like Strider, Fried, Morton, Sale, and Elder. So we got a good mix of veterans and young guys in there, which is really, really nice, and I'm really loving the rotation right now a whole lot. Braves have one of the best rotations in baseball. They might have the best bullpen in baseball, and then they have one of the best lineups in baseball. So definitely not too worried about them going into the season. Other teams have made some big improvements, but I'm definitely liking the Braves' chances and feel like they can win it all. And March 28th is when the season starts, so I love when that's going to happen, and excited to watch the next season, and just going to be thinking about baseball all off season. So my other hopes are Max Fried can get extended. That would be really nice, and get paid, and hope he'll be around for the long term. And that is really my main Braves hope at the moment. I think I'm pretty happy the day after this Chris Sale trade. I'm pretty happy with that result now thinking about it, and hopefully that'll continue and he can have a good season and be worth this little bit of a gamble. And then I think they should pay Max Fried, and just hope they'll all be healthy. Have some dominant pitching this year would be insane, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. So shout out to the Braves. Shout out to Ronald Acuna Jr. for being my favorite player ever, maybe. Definitely my favorite Brave of all time. Maybe my favorite sportsman of all time. I love you, Ronald Acuna Jr. You're so much fun to watch. And I love all the rest of the Braves, every one of them. I'm not even going to name other ones because I love them all. Love the young guys, love the old guys. I'm excited to see some of these new guys come in. So really excited for next season. Love the baseball, love the worldwide world of sports, and, way more enjoyment than disappointment out here just from watching these things. And, the world of sports is awesome. And there's some sports on today. Going to watch some NFL. And then we have the college football playoffs tomorrow, which will be fun. And then get ready for baseball season after this football wraps up. So that's the plan. And so that is going to wrap up this final section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 60. In this section, we did all of our friends of the show rankings for 2023. So thank you to Pab, Merck, and Sanfi for submitting those. Thank you to all the friends of the show, of the Dep Lewis Show. Thank you for all the listeners of the Dep Lewis Show. Thank you to all the favorite sports teams of the Dep Lewis Show. And I keep talking about those in the next year. And let me just wrap this thing up, okay? So I'm going to reiterate some of the stuff, promotional stuff from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. So basically anywhere you can find a podcast. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. And then Patreon.com/DepLewisShow is the ultimate place to follow for a second weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. So the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show, you can access this by paying $1 a month for the ground floor tier for the first 100 patrons. With this tier, you will gain access to an additional weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. This podcast releases midweek and is a great way to get additional content and support the show. Patreon also has ad-free versions of the Dep Lewis Show, Shows Off series, plus more. After the first 100 patrons, the regular price for this tier will begin. Ground floor tier pricing will never change and will gain access to all Dep Lewis Show Patreon content always. Thank you for the support. And just thank you for listening to this show. Thank you for listening to the second annual Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2023. And I look forward to ranking all the best things again in 2024. I look forward to a really great 2024 of a bunch of podcast episodes. I'm going to be back next Sunday with your regularly scheduled programming, so episode 61. You're also going to get, I think you're going to get a Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. We'll start back this week as well, too. And then for the year, you can expect, a summer break for the Dep Lewis Show, which is I believe it's July 7th and July 14th. Those 2 weeks, there will be no episode. No episode the week of Thanksgiving, and then no episode, 2 weeks prior to the last weekend of the year. So that's a holiday break. So the Dep Lewis Show in 2024 will have a summer break, a Thanksgiving break, and a holiday break. And then I'm going to have another flex day, 2 other flex days for possible sickness or just possible change of events or something that comes up. So looking forward to 45 episodes in the new year. Looking forward to playing a bunch of games, ranking all the best ones again for sure. Looking forward to running back some of these categories from this year. Looking forward to more friends of the show list. Looking forward to more listeners, more downloads, more views, more eyeballs, and just, having more fun on the show. I really enjoy doing it. It's really cool to wrap up the year. This is my favorite episode, I think, to do, is this end of the year one. I've done it twice now, and I definitely think this is my highlight of the year for the podcast and really fun to do. And I really enjoyed having the time off right before it to get all my thoughts together. So just, thank you for being a listener. Thank you for any support. Thank you for any listening, any support, all you do. And hope you have a great year. Just thank you for being a listener. And I'll be back next week and next year for another episode of the world famous Dep Lewis Show. So I'll see you then.